Welcome to In the Stiffs podcast with me, Sam Aiston, and my ex-teammates Dave Edwards and Gav Cowan. Thank you to our sponsors, Acoustiform, the #1 supplier of quality acoustic solutions. Enjoy.
If you haven't listened to it already, make sure you catch part 1, The Early Years, where Joe talks about his first footsteps into footballing fame. In this episode, Joe talks about winning league titles to wondering what his next club will be.
He welcomed me, he showed me around, he made me feel really, really, really at ease.
Yeah, but surely Harry Kane scored more than I did last year.
He did. I was on the bench straight away. I remember being at Stamford Bridge with my first game on the bench. They were Drogba, Lampard, Terry. I was thinking,
And what was your last game for Shrewsbury?
Chester away mix. I wore white boots and short sleeve. Deal with that, Gary. No, I wasn't England goalkeeper. I got the 30th of June. Everyone's dropped out. Trinidad away.
It happens, mate. It happens.
Hell yeah, mate. It was the maddest feeling, and it left me in shock for at least close to a day and a half, close to 36 hours, where I was in complete disbelief as to what had gone on. Look, it was taken away from me, but so what? Like, I'm not bigger than anyone. I'm not bigger than anything. And if that's going to be my path, then that's my path. People of Manchester City will forever be in my heart. You can see someone losing their mind at your sheer presence being there. And all I've done, most of the times, I've kind of looked at whoever they're with and gone, is he all right? He announced the team. I wasn't in it. All right, okay. Went in and just went, come on then, what's going on? I said, I'm going to bring drive, I'm going to bring energy, I'm going to bring passion. Don't know whose office it was. It was like some side office with the sporting director.
There wasn't any smoke coming out of it then?
No, no.
Smell of coffee and cigars or something. Yeah.
I feel like people kind of get who and what I am, and that's more important to me than anything.
You're happy?
I'm really happy, mate. I'm really happy.
So you signed for Man City, Joe. How was that compared to, obviously, Shrewsbury and making your debut?
It really exciting. Really, really exciting. They were a big club. They weren't obviously the kind of title chasing team that they are now.
Who was in that team then, Joe? Mark Hughes was manager.
No, I'm way back, mate. Stuart Pearce was my manager.
Sorry.
Stuart Pearce and Tim Flowers. I came there as a potential third choice. Was the conversation with idea to see how I got on. Go out on loan and see how it worked.
Who were the goalkeepers there
at the time? It was David James was one. Nicky Weaver. Casper was there, and myself.
You and Casper are always similar age, kind of. So, I know you're very close to him, but you were kind of head to head a little bit.
Yeah, Casper. He came on loan to Bury and played against me in one of my last games, and I was strongly linked with City. And basically, I was walking onto his patch. The more I look at it, like I don't know, there was no need to sign me, but they did anyway. Whatever. And I remember thinking, I don't know how this is going to play out, and obviously I knew more about his father than I did about him in terms of someone that I look up to. And Casper had a reputation of being quite rude, quite an arrogant guy. So I was like, oh God. And I still remember that he was the first person waiting for me when I arrived. He welcomed me, he showed me around, he made me feel really, really, really at ease. Looking back now, tactically he might have been sounding me out or whatever his incentive, he was just being. And then since then, we kind of always spoke about our situations because we were constantly against each other for the first couple of years. And we got on, we were both very honest with each other, competed with each other. I played, he played. Anyway, that was a long way. But I wanted to get in how impressed I was with him as a person. And, I was walking into the bright lights of being with the Schmeichels, being in Manchester City. I remember Paul Dickoff did his medical same day as me. And he was right at the end of his career. And someone who I knew who he was, I knew he played for Scotland, knew he had a good career, lovely guy. You know what it's like. You go into these situations and you just presume these guys are just from different planets. They're not. They're just normal guys who are good at football. They're normal guys who've got normal friends, who've got families. The more and more that I was in it, the more I realised that. And then did my medical at the old training ground, and Stuart Pearce drove me from the old training ground to the Etihad. I don't even know.
Was it
City of Manchester then?
Like Moss Side area, wasn't it?
No, that was that they moved out of that and they moved into one in Carrington.
Okay.
That was Platt Lane, where apparently the younger guys trained. And then I was with Stuart Pearce, huge legend of the game, someone obviously I remember from playing for England. Tim Flowers as well. Very, very cool and calm, very, very, very humble with me, and told me what he expected and what he wanted from me, and how he saw it playing out. And I was just, quiet and interested to get going. So David James came.
What was he like, Joe, with you, David James?
To start with, JMO has a huge reputation of being a huge character. Like he was the more I met him, the more he was a powerful character. I mean, he was intimidating, and I don't mean just physically, like intellectually, he was intimidating. He was front foot, he was booming, he was huge.
Is that being nice for knobhead, or is that genuinely like he was just a big character that was quite like? Oof,
well, it is what it is. I suppose to some people he was a knobhead because he would dominate them, but like that was just who and how he was. And I was I even remember to the point of I went to introduce myself because he came back late because of the World Cup or something, and he walked out to train and we'd been training together, and I waited and I said, "Hi, David, I'm Joe. I've recently signed," and he just walked straight past me, and he was like, but he was at that time. The more I look at it, he was trying to get away. He was trying to leave, so he was doing what he felt he needed to do. And
I'm not having that.
I don't like that.
No,
I know.
The thing is though, like,
I don't think you would do that now, Joe.
No, there's no way I'd do that. But we're all different. We're all different, and we all work differently and get the best out of ourselves doing things differently. And I just remember literally stood there with my hand out and just kind of nodded and went, "Yep, talk to you in a bit then."
But we don't really know what's happened to him beforehand.
Exactly.
But I still think he could have had a million things. Could have had a massive argument with his wife just prior to bumping into you. We don't know that, but
you do hear stories, don't you, about these like elite level athletes who they're so like in the zone and they're so competitive that actually they're just cut for like a I know it's another level, but like a Michael Jordan or someone like that. Like they're always known for being that way inclined.
I was lucky enough to obviously work with JMO further down the line, and get his I get on with him and I'll get to that kind of relationship. So, but then JMO got what he wanted. He moved to Portsmouth. He got his move to Portsmouth. He felt that was right for him, and they bought a guy called Andreas Isaksson in from big, tall, 6'6", skinny goalkeeper from Sweden. As to be the number one, he got injured straight away. He was he found the Prem and the whole kind of Premier League environment tough. And Nicky Weaver's playing. Nicky Weaver was number one at Man City when I was there, who was kind of a throwback, come off the back of
City legend
from League One.
Huge knee injuries, mate. He was one of the first people to have a knee replacement. So I was on the bench for him. I was on the bench straight away. I remember being at Stamford Bridge was my first game on the bench. They were Drogba, Lampard, Terry. I was thinking,
what was your last game for Shrewsbury? You remember? It would have been
Chester away, mate. So I wore white boots and short sleeve. Deal with that, Gary.
I'm getting a move. I'm sticking my white boots on. JP's fuming.
I had him. It's all been building up.
I had them.
Please tell me you wore molds as well.
And I would not wear them. And I went, you know what?
And you cut your sleeves
Hair's
off.
dyed. Little bit of the back's been straightened. Whiteies are coming on, and I'm cutting the sleeves. Deal with it.
The kit man wouldn't let you cut them until the last game of the season, would he?
Wouldn't. He actually wouldn't.
I'm cutting them.
Cutting it.
It was a problem to ring Tim Powers.
So you've gone from the Diva Stadium at Chester to Stamford Bridge. That's some
Stamford
rise,
Bridge, mate. When
wow.
I think Jose's in charge, and it was just like Drogba, one of my favourite players ever. He was unbelievable as well. He was just powerful. We had Richard Dunn, Sylvan Distan. We had two strong boys at the back. They beat us 3-0, and it was just electric. And when you sit on the bench at Stamford Bridge, you're a little bit low, and so you're literally in line with the height. The height of the ball. And I was just like, don't really fancy being in goal in this. This is tough. So did my bit on the bench, and actually when I was 19. I was 19 at this point and I was intention of going out on loan, but anyway, circumstances. Casper had gone on loan. Isaksson was injured, so I was on the bench for Weaves, and then he called me in October one morning. He was just like, "Just let you know, big boy, I'm not going to make today. I think you're going to be in goal." So I was like, oh, "Okay then." In the hotel that I was staying in, rocked up Sheffield United at home. Obviously sent a little message out to family and friends, get yourself down.
This is the Etihad, wasn't it? So they moved to the Etihad at this point.
Etihad, yeah. And I made my Premier League debut against Sheffield United when I was 19. And I just remember, I've always kind of had a thing of firsts. And I remember the referee just blowing the whistle. And I was like, played in the Prem. Whatever happens here, bosh.
I was just about to ask you that, because Dave says the same. Was it a case of just going, no matter what anyone says to me now, I've played in the Premier League?
100%. Same with England. Same with every time I played for England. Wow. Bosh, done that. Or when I played for a new team, I've always said it. Right, I've done it. I've played it.
It's a checklist, isn't it?
Yeah, is that take that away from you. I think that's the same with anything, even like a league game, a professional game, getting paid to play football. Whatever level you're at, you think that.
Yeah. You think,
is that something you've discussed before, or is that just something that you hold? Like, because again, I would say I've done the same. Obviously, and Sam, Don't know about you. Is that something that you've done as well?
Yeah, I mean, even coming on as a sub. Like when I came on as a sub, I was like, I've come on as a sub in the Prem. Like, what? That's it. That's fine. I've done all right, haven't I? Anybody says you're rubbish football, I go, well, actually, probably not. I'm in the top 0.0001%. To be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So ticked off. Played a one-off game.
But 19 as a goalkeeper, that's impressive.
It's a big thing, isn't it, when you're keeping? It's hard. It's not like being a left winger or something, where you're going to get a 10 or 15 minutes, aren't you? You're a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
it's a massive decision.
0-0, buzzing. The boys really looked after me, actually.
Good night out.
Wicked night.
Can't remember.
No, I went to Manchester. Oh, that was class. People like Micah Richards was just coming up at the time. There was a really, really good young group of lads. Oh, it was awesome, mate. It was awesome. Just loved anything anyone was doing. I was young, free. I was in. Yeah, sound. I'm in. Cool. Okay, I'll be there. Little geek early. I remember my first night I spoke about it with Micah. He was like, "Yeah, I'll meet me at 11 outside on Deansgate." I was like, "Yeah." Got there at 11. About 11:45. I'm just sat talking to this tramp. Like I think I'm on my ones because I couldn't get anywhere. No one knew me. And you had to know to go to the places that they wanted to go. You had to know people. And I had no influence, nothing.
I've just signed. I'm new. You won't recognise
driver's license.
I'm old enough on it.
To be fair, Joe, I've got in about 4 places in Manchester saying I'm you.
So but needless to say, awesome night out of that. We had fun on and off the field, and then Isaacson got fit anyway later on in that year. Started going on loan. Yeah. Kind of did 2 emergency loans where I was literally called the morning of the night before and said so it was Prenton Park. Sam, you know that well.
Yeah.
It was New Year's Day. It was get yourself to Tranmere. You're going to play for Tranmere and you're going to meet everyone. You just met everyone in the dressing room. Hi, I'm Joe. I'm a goalie.
Played in the Prem.
No, it was both emergency loans. It was both emergency loans. So it was there was no real planning behind it. It was filling in for someone being John Achterberg. Actually, was the goalkeeper.
John Achterberg. Yeah, we've talked about him in a previous
John
podcast.
Achterberg.
Strange character, but
so was that League One? Or was that League Two?
League One.
League One. So it's a step up from Shrewsbury still.
Yeah, it was a step up. And I remember having the discussions at the time. They were like, Stuart Pearce told me he wanted me to go on loan. And I was just like, right, okay, because I wasn't doing anything. I think Isaacson got injured, got fit maybe in November, December, so I had a little bit of time and not doing anything, and then got that opportunity. Rocked up, played, had a month there, loved it, then got the guy got fit, went back to City, trained, just was a part of everything, was always a part of the first team, which, I really
Casper
enjoyed.
Gone into number 2 at this point?
No, Casper's out on loan. I don't know where he might have been up here. He might have been in Falkirk or something like that. Casper, he put the hard yards in. He went on plenty of loans. It was Nicky Weaver and Isaacson. And then Blackpool at the end of the season. Again, met them on the M6.
I played against you for Blackpool. Can you remember that? You played Blackpool and I played Tranmere.
Yeah, mate.
It wasn't Tranmere. It was Northampton.
Yeah,
and I remember. This is a mark of Joe as well. Obviously, we played the game, and everybody knew you because you were known for Man City because you were still quite a big name. I remember you jumped on the Tranmere bus at the end and went, I just want to say hello to Sam on the way down there. I remember walking past, and I was like, hi, we had a little chat. I walked back on, and Sean Dyche was our captain there. And he went, who's that? And I said, I want to be Man City, mate. Just went and sat out.
All of us lot knew about Blackpool because I remember you coming back to Shrewsbury and we would all be singing about Seasiders.
Mate, I had a great time there, but like both Tranmere and Blackpool, not the greatest training grounds, were they, Sam?
No, they weren't at Tranmere. No.
And there was an agreement for my development was to basically train at Man City till Friday. And then train with them on a Friday, and then play. Both loans were organised like that because I was still in a development period of my career. Just loved it, mate. I met on for that game. I think I made my debut for them. Met on the M6. I literally jumped on the coach and went.
Daunting, that jumping on a coach to no one you know.
It's just funny, mate. No tracksuit, so second time I got battered. I was like, I don't know what to wear. So someone was like, just wear your Man City tracksuit. So I'm
set him right up.
sat in the services. See some Blackpool. Like, I didn't know who they were. They didn't know who I was, and I introduced them. They didn't even know their goalie was injured. They genuinely didn't know their goalie was injured.
Absolute chancer, yeah.
Thought you were just some lad who bought a Man City tracksuit trying
Honestly,
to have him
it
on.
was.
That's League One, mate. You're not a Man City. It's League One, mate.
Yeah, but just rocked up and went and played and literally played to the end of they got into the playoffs and the guy managed to recover, so I didn't get to play in the playoffs. And then the season after, Sven, all of a sudden Manchester City got bought by a Thai guy called Thaksin Shinawatra. So there was a lot of noise. He was at Sky Sports and whatever did their digging on him, and he was a very wealthy guy involved in tax-free goods in Thailand or something. So big money's coming in. All of a sudden, Stuart Pearce is sacked. They bring Sven-Goran Eriksson in. A lot of money's being thrown about. They're literally overhauling the squad. They're just buying people that no one had heard of. 10 millions, 8 millions, which was a lot of money. And it was myself. I think Weaves was still there. I think he might have gone out on loan. And then Sven came in and was like, I like all three of you as goalkeepers. So I want to see you all. So I was like, right, cool. Trained, did the pre-season. It looked like I was going to get the nod. And then 2 weeks before the season, jumped, getting threes with the shout. So I jumped on Kasper and my finger got stuck in his jumper and I dislocated. I ripped it out. So then whatever decision was going to be made, Kasper started the season unbelievably. Started really well. I was on the bench for him. I just got doubled up my finger on my glove and made it so I hate missing games, hated missing anything. So Kasper started, played the first 7 games, played really well.
He said he did well. I remember at the time there's a lot of talk because obviously Peter Schmeichel, he was doing the star save,
he was
wasn't
on
he, like
fire.
he does.
It was just weird.
But before that though, and I remember being really conscious of this. When he did start, it's interesting you say about your injury now, because I was shocked and I was like, this is it. This is his chance. Yeah. He's like, it's happening. It's going to happen. I can't wait. He's going to be the number one. And then Kasper went in and I remember speaking to my pals going, I thought that was going to be Joe, to be honest. I'm a bit shocked at that. No disrespect to Kasper, because he's unbelievable, isn't he? But at that time, I was a bit like, I thought Joe was going to get an nod.
Was any of you, were you or Kasper ahead of each other? I mean, obviously Kasper was there, but was through the years, was he perceived as being better than you, or were you better than him, or was it always just neck and
honestly,
neck?
I got there and it was another Timo situation. It was another Gary Peters situation. I was just thinking, why do you need me? Like, Kasper's brilliant.
More than good enough, yeah.
He's brilliant, but I think that was people who aren't going to look into things too deeply will presume Kasper got to where he was because of his name. I think if anything, at that moment in his career, it held him back, and people almost didn't want to. You know, he was a really confident, aggressive, bordering on arrogant goalkeeper, which you kind of need to be.
Absolutely,
yeah. Which you kind of need to be.
Gotta be.
But then the laziness of some people were just like, he's just trying to be his dad. He wasn't. He was always just being him. And it's proven now. Like, it's proven through the hard work, and he's exactly where he should be in the goalkeeping world, as one of the greats, as one of the top players in the Premier League, top players in the world. But I think that held him back, and they kind of had this idea that I was English, which helped. You get to those situations, people want English people playing for their club. It markets better, and I feel like I got my chance. We were pretty close in terms of ability, but once he got the nod on me, there should have been no looking back. But again, he was held back for whatever reason. But I was always obviously going to take the opportunity. After 7 games, Sven then announced that he was going to give myself 7, and then give Andreas Isaksson 7.
I mean, that's
he was the Swedish number 1 at the time. Like, he was a good keeper.
But some managers do that, Joe, don't they? Some managers do the 7 game trimester, don't they? So they say, right, okay, this is the 7 games. We're going to work on this. This is the amount of points we want out the back of it. So was it to do with that, or was he just literally going keepers?
I have no idea, mate. That was my role. I was 2. Kasper was playing. He was my friend. I appreciated him for what he was. I was going to support him. I was going to train hard. But
going back to your mindset, though, you said you were as a young lad, you were free. You didn't feel any pressure at this point. Was there any pressure build at this point, or was you still
pressure on what? What was the worst case? What was the worst case?
That's refreshing, because again, I look back to myself. I'd have felt pressure doing that. I felt pressure when Gary Peters told me I'd have 3 games in centre field to prove myself.
You're right. It's an illusion, isn't it?
You created pressure yourself.
Yeah.
But you obviously, Joe, were able. I don't know. It's not able, is it? You just. naturally didn't feel that pressure. Lots of people felt pressure. People feel pressure as a 13-year-old playing for an academy or something like that. You just never had that. That's an amazing gift in
perfect
itself.
storm. This is what I say. Like when I speak to people about you, Joe, I call you the perfect storm, because we talk about that natural ability, the biomechanics, the DNA, then the mindset, then the work ethic, then not carefree. That's a wrong. How would you describe it? There, not carefree is probably the wrong term for it, but almost like that freedom.
I think single-mindedness.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
Because you make a great point. What's the worst case scenario there? Well, if it don't happen, I'm the Man City number 2. I'm playing in the Premier League. I'm gonna be all right. Like, do you know what I mean?
But it's hard to have that when you're young. I think
Absolutely.
It's easy now when you're older.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's unusual to be like that. No, I know it comes a bit when you're young, but when you start getting to that level, I think a lot of people.
Well, I wasn't like that at a much lower level. Not even like the same sport. Do you know what I mean? Might as well have been a different sport. So it's absolutely incredible.
That 7 games obviously went well.
Went really well, yeah.
And did Isaacson get 7 games after that? Or did. So he did. He stuck to his word and gave all of you 7 games.
He did it. And then so what's that? Obviously 21 games into a 38 game season. 38 games, yeah. And then there was obviously quite a bit of build up into who was going to play. Then I played from then on in.
When Isaacson had his 7 games, were you back on the bench or third choice? Or no,
I was back on the bench.
So you was always, all the way through those 21 games,
I was always involved. Always involved.
What's your mentality there? Because it's difficult there, the dynamics with the goalkeeper, because you're watching Isaacson play or Casper play him, and they're your friend. So you want them as your friend to do okay, but you do not want them to be unbelievable and keep 7 clean sheets, or you're not getting in.
I've always kind of had this thing in me that, yes, something in me says I don't want it to go perfectly, but also then someone else will come into my head to say there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, mate. So just wait your turn. Yeah. Control your controllables and wait your turn. And however it works out is completely out of my hands. Kind of really like to
just be there to support them as
really pride myself on that. Like really pride myself on being able to rise above certain things. I love being a goalkeeper. I love being part of a team. I really do. I've had roles now, even recently, where I've not been perceived as playing by potentially the outside world, and that could have been seen as being difficult. But I just thought I am with this team. I'm with these people. I invest in these people. I abuse these people daily when it comes to shooting, being involved, wanting the best. And you can get a feel off someone, especially as a goalkeeper, how they want to be treated or how they want to be. Some people don't want that relationship, and that's fine. Some people need support and want to be friendly and want your genuine. I want genuine input from a guy that I'm playing with. I want genuine critique. I want to hear what they've got to say and how they feel. But everyone's different. So at that time I was just training hard. I was kind of shrugging my shoulders when anyone asked me any questions about it, because I was like, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm not going to go in and knock the door down. Sven's an awesome guy. Loved working with Sven as a person. He was a top guy, and it was new. Like I say. It was Sinawacha. It was exciting. There was stuff happening at Manchester City, and it was just really. It was good to be
big opportunity to be part of something which could be amazingly exciting as well.
Yeah, I suppose in theory, but you've got to bear in mind that I'm still just not long off playing for Blackpool, Tranmere, Shrewsbury Town. I'm just buzzing off, racking up these numbers in the Premier League, small milestones, keeping a couple of clean sheets. I think I'm playing under 21s for England at the time, unbelievable, mate. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Just living it. Absolutely living it. Going out, enjoying it with the boys, loving it. And I just didn't want it to end, and just kept moving, and time moves quick. Then turns out Sinawatra's in jail. The money's
Am I going to get them bonuses at the end of the year or not?
The money's tied up, and then the Abu Dhabi group come in. It was referenced how much they were worth and what they were
kicking the nads when they came in.
But none of us took it seriously. We were like,
another
heard
one.
that before.
Yeah.
Sven's been told he can go. Fans loved him. Everyone loved him. We all loved him. And then it started to get real. People like Robinho walked through the door. We were strongly linked with Mark Hughes took the job. We were strongly linked with Gianluigi Buffon. We were strongly linked with Brad Friedel. They were dying to get Brad Friedel from Blackburn. Mark Hughes was given a.
To go back, you'd finished the back, so you'd had those 7 games each, and then you finished the season under Sven. Then
you're
number one going
in.
You're going into to that following season with the new owners. You're number one.
You're England goalkeeper and the number one, and they're still.
No, I wasn't England goalkeeper. I got the 30th of June. Everyone's dropped out. Trinidad away.
It happens, mate. It happens.
Hell yeah, mate. Came on in the second half in Trinidad. It was a celebration of 50 years as an FA or something. There was literally a party going on. It was class.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
But then the new guys come in.
New
manager.
Mark Hughes comes in. It's myself and Casper. I can't remember. Maybe Isaacson had left at this point, and they're doing everything they could to. I know they are. They're doing everything they can to spend their money, to use it. Rightfully so. They had the pick of whoever they wanted.
Yeah.
And they had me, who had potential to do something.
How old are you now, Joe?
What am I, 21? 21 now.
So for keeper, if you want massive success, you think the 21-year-old goalkeeper, is he a bit young?
And the other goalkeeper's 21 as well.
So you probably think, you can understand why in some ways you're thinking, do we need someone older?
And what players had they brought in at this point? So Robinho, is it Adebayor, all that sort of?
No, Adebayor hadn't come yet. It was like Martin Petrov.
He was there. What left foot he had, mate.
Yeah, they brought
besties are the besties, mate.
They were bringing some good players in, and they were being linked with. I think they were dying to bring Bellas in. Mark Hughes had been really successful at Blackburn, fully merited the job of taking over, and they were. Anyway, they did everything they could to make these things happen. They didn't happen, so I ended up playing till starting the season. We were involved in the Europa League, which was a big experience for me, playing in Europe. I think I was still playing under 21s, and then it got to the January, and it was just getting ridiculous. Like, it was just so obvious they were going to sign someone, regardless. I was doing well. It was regardless how I did. I'm the kind of person who will ask that question. I'm like, look, I'm not stupid. If you're going to sign someone, you need to let me know. And if you're planning on completely removing me from the situation, you owe it to me to tell me. I'm not going to do anything about it, but I need to start thinking about moving on, because I'm in a groove now. I'm starting to get England recognition. We shake hands, no problem. No, Joe, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Then the window literally ends on the 31st of January, doesn't it? And a snow day kicked in, so it went on an extra day. And then Shay walked in the building. Shay Given. So they signed
your
Shay.
mate Sam. Do you remember him?
Have you heard that podcast?
Yeah, I was laughing my head off at
that. Pick your best goalkeeper. What about Shay Given? Oh my goodness! Yeah, that was embarrassing. Sorry, Shay, if you're listening. You amazing mate at Sunderland.
But Shay,
what a lad though, Joe.
Class, mate. Class. A lot of how I've behaved when things haven't gone my way and things have gone my way, I relate back to how he behaved with me. Because I literally was at the goalie coach daily saying, look, you're taking me for a bit of a mug here. You need to be honest with me. I know what's happening. No, it's not happening. Mark Hughes, he's not the kind of guy you can go and have a conversation with. He ruled from afar, and however he did things is how he did things. But he wasn't the kind of guy who'd be straight and honest with you, because he was. It was a difficult club to be a part of. 1 minute you were signing Robinho, next minute everyone's getting sold and everyone's getting bought.
And he's sweating on his own job, Mark Hughes, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's got to produce, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Instantly, or he's gone.
So Shay walked in. We kind of shook, I kind of laughed when I saw it. Literally, he walked in. I didn't know that it had been official. And he was like, "This is a bit awkward."
You're like, "Can I help you, mate?"
Yeah.
Anything you need, or
no? I was like, "No, look, it is what it is. Welcome to the club, first and foremost. We'll make it work." And he was like, right, cool. So I then became 2 for Shay, who was awesome, like someone I looked up to, awesome for Newcastle, superb goalkeeper, superb guy. Immediately fitted in as a really important.
What was Shay's best attributes then? What kind of do you think? Was there anything barring experience which put him ahead of you at that point?
No, I backed myself as a goalkeeper, but it was just once, like Dave, at any level, there's all sorts. There's so much more to it than ability once you get through a certain level or to a certain point in the business of football. And he was class. He
had an amazing work ethic, but I suppose they all have though, haven't you? You were the same.
He was class, and it was a great decision by the club, in my opinion. If I were to remove myself from the situation, you signed. He was proven. He was top. He was a decent age. He had a great attitude. He was the kind of guy that they were going to pay a lot of money, but he was still going to work, because we were paying people stupid money at the time who were unproven. They had no one had any ties to the club. Like City
he wasn't He wasn't a Joe Hart though. I would have picked you in the five-a-side team ahead of Shea, but he wasn't as big. He wasn't as naturally gifted. He couldn't strike the ball in the same way. I don't think. Did you not find that in training, or would?
A little bit, but like I say, I didn't really. It's not the kind of thing that I ever did. I never really compared myself. I just did me, and he did him. He had different ways of doing things. Like I say, whenever I talk about, anyone asks me about tips for a goalkeeper for any age, I can't give any because we're all so different in how we do things. The only tip I can ever give to someone is you can only go in goal if you want to be there. Otherwise, don't go in goal. But so Shea's playing, and I'm 2, and it's like, I'm done at City. You know, the first opportunity they flipped on me, so I'm going to have to look elsewhere. So I was constantly on at my agents at the time. I was like, I need to go in the summer. Find me somewhere to go in the summer. Get me out in the summer. I think I just signed probably a 3 or 4 year deal as well. So that's how they were working at the time. They were just giving deals out, then taking them away from people. And so it was politically hard for me to get a permanent contract. So anyway, Birmingham came up, and I managed to go and meet Alex McLeish in the summer. He just wanted to like test me out of what I was like as a person. I was like, all I want to do is play, mate. Like, don't worry about them. I'm on loan, but I am with Birmingham. I'm a Birmingham City player. And my plan was to either sign for Birmingham or try and put myself in the shop window to move on from there. You know, I was done with Manchester. They were done with me, and I was done with them. No hard feelings. I appreciate what they did, but they were going in their direction. And then Roberto came in. Mancini replaced Hughes during that season.
But could you just touch on Birmingham? You did amazing at Birmingham. You got player of the season, didn't you?
A season long loan.
It went great at Birmingham.
It went great. Fantastic.
It went great. It was we were really we rocked with Alex McLeish. We rocked out the same 11. I think I was 22, just come off the back of the Euros for the under 21s, and we just smashed out the same team. I had Mike Taylor ahead of me, a really good senior goalkeeper. It wasn't perfect at the start. It didn't go that well. We were going okay. And then there was actually a point about 6 games in where we played City and I couldn't play. Yeah. And I hadn't been perfect. And Mike came in and drew 0-0 with Man City. And I thought, there's a good chance that I don't get back in here. You know, there was. But to be fair to Alex McLeish, he said, look, I'm committed. We even had to have the conversation. He was like, I'm committed to what I'm doing. You're going in, but Mike's already proven what he can do. So just, be ready. And I booted on from there. Had a great goalie coach in Dave Watson, someone who I've worked with England and stuff like that since. And we just got after it. We had the same, 4-4-2. We had rigid substitutions that we made. We either won 1-0, drew 1-1, or lost 1-0. That was how our results went. No one battered us, and we didn't batter anyone. But we ended up finishing 9th in the season. I think I got in the PFA Team of the Year, which was a huge achievement in the Premier League.
Championship.
That's the Premier League.
Oh, the Premier League.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, Premier League.
Team of the Year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got a lot of recognition off that, and went to the 2010 World Cup off the back of it as third choice behind. As one of the 3, there was no real nailed on one. It was David
Don't talk
James.
about England too much yet.
We'll come back.
I've got a plan to this. I've got an itinerary. I've got a bit of a script here.
But then Mancini's
come in.
Birmingham's done and dusted. You go back to Man City the following summer.
No, it was strange, mate. It's just football's nuts, isn't it? So Mancini's come in with a couple of months to go. Him and Shea just did not hit it off from the moment that they started working together. And then he was made aware that I was at Birmingham and I was doing well, and I was doing all the things that he liked. He was quite old school. He liked a goalkeeper, big, strong, coming for things, and Shea was very much a sharp shooter from the back. Whatever. And I think they fell out. I think they had crosswords because Shea would always stand up for himself because when he was getting unfairly kind of blamed or whatever. And then Shea got a bad injury. Stewie Taylor got a bad injury. And with 2 games to go, they were chasing Champions League, and they were allowed an emergency loan. So they called me and said, would I come back? And I was like, yeah, if you want me to, but you need to speak to Birmingham. And Birmingham said that, yeah, but you need to pay us. I think we were 9th. And if we didn't get results in the last 2 games, there was potential of us dropping 3 or 4 places, which was, if that were to happen, there was a good 3 or 4 million involved in that in terms of your payment at the end. Yeah. So they said, yeah, take him for 2 games, but it's going to cost you 4 million. So City were like, all right, we're not going to do that. And so they took a guy called Martin Fulop, sadly passed away actually. But anyway, they didn't get Champions League, and Mancini said, come back. I was told to go back and have a conversation with him, and he made it very clear that he liked me as a goalkeeper. I was done and dusted with City. Done. I was trying to work out where best I could go. Would I sign for Birmingham? Would I move on? And he said, would I come back pre-season? And he genuinely gave me a fair crack at the whip. Nothing, no promises, but he'd wanted to see me. And then I came back. Me and Shay we jostled. We played. The more I look at it now, Shay kind of knew that I was getting favoured because of his political situation that he was involved in. But then I got named in the team first game of the season an hour and a half before away at Tottenham.
You didn't know before then?
No inclination. Neither of us knew.
Was Mancini always do that? Name the team late?
Flip the board, and literally both of us were looking. Was it Hart or Given at the top? And it was Hart. So I was like, right, okay. I went away at Tottenham, White Hart Lane, and it was laughable. The first half I had. Shay was literally pictured and videoed on the bench laughing. It was like I had 6 arms, mate. They were coming. We were awful. I was on absolute flames, saving everything that moved. It was just like I was cringing a bit inside because I was like, this is just mental. Like, how could this go any better? And he's like, you just see him start laughing because he's a cool guy, Shay. And he went, I don't think I'm getting in.
One of them.
Class. Was this on the telly, this game? Yeah. Because I came. Was it on a Sunday? Because I came down to watch. I remember this game. Yeah. You got us tickets at White Hart Lane. Yeah. And I come to the game and you were like,
it was a 0-0.
Outrageously good.
It was White Hart Lane, and we had all our new signings. I think we just signed Kolarov, Yaya Toure, David Silva, Sergio Aguero. We'd signed some big boys. Like they were at that point. City were officially serious. Yeah. At that point, we got through the tribulations of is it more Sinawatra? Is it more like they were serious in what they were doing? And I'd got given the nod, and that was it for however long I played for.
Before you kind of get onto all the success from there, how did you kind of cope with that? Not just you, but your family as well, because all of a sudden you had this gradual rise, but it's been quite quick, but it's been a rise. But now. Yeah. Man City, millions and millions and millions of pounds, and you're the number one. Does a lot come with that in terms of pressure, family?
I think you've had a good ground in there, hasn't he? Wes, you haven't come through the academy system, have you? In the same way, so you've played like with men from a young age and all the way through, but then suddenly it's just gone bang. Hold on a minute.
How did your family? So your mum, your dad, sister. Was you with Kim at this point?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
You're famous now, though, aren't you? You're famous. You're massively high profile.
Yeah, and I literally, this coincided with the end of the 2010 World Cup not going well for England and me being in so as well as getting the nod for Man City, a week later we started our campaign for the next Euros.
And you're number one.
And I wore the number one shirt.
How do you and your family cope with that then? Because now you're walking down the street and everybody knows who you are.
Just buzzing, mate. Buzzing, happy. Is what it is.
You having to be more, not careful, but think about more like your day-to-day stuff. Like, I want to go out, but
no,
just normal.
No, but I've always been able to hold a conversation with people. From Shrewsbury, people kind of knew who you were and wanted to talk about football. And as long as someone wasn't rude to me, how can you not have a conversation with someone being polite, with someone asking for a little bit of your time? I've always had that in my mind that. Why not? And there has been moments where I'd imagine there's people out there who would say Joe Hart incredibly arrogant, incredibly rude, but there's only certain. I've also been brave enough and strong enough to say, look, that's unacceptable. Like what you're doing right now, you need to do one. You need to leave me alone. You're being rude. You're being disrespectful to one of my friends. You're causing a scene. No chance. I'm not doing anything for you or any of your friends. And I've stood by that. And however that gets perceived is how it gets perceived. Because the majority of the time, if someone's approaching me to talk football, or even if they don't agree with something that I've done or wants to talk about a mistake, as long as it's in the right way, it's just a conversation. It's absolutely no problem, and I've never struggled with that.
What about Joe? Because we heard this story back in Shrewsbury, didn't we? Where it was like Joe Hart's been burning £50 notes in Manchester.
It's brilliant, mate. it's class. Like,
please tell me it's true.
It's just history.
Yeah, the fivers they were.
Yeah. Joe's like,
Dave said Joe's too tight to do that.
But imagine someone doing that. Imagine someone actually.
It wouldn't happen though, Joe. It doesn't happen. Have you ever seen anybody ever do that in all your time?
Never. And I don't think. Why? It's just something. But that becomes a story and something that you get. But I can guarantee that anyone that we talk about, anyone who's of a decent level in an English player, or probably in their own countries there's other ways of doing it, but they would have been linked to that story of burning money. Like, it's not just me that's been linked with
It's that old, though, Gav. It's that old. Like, do you know who I am? You know, you hear that every professional footballer says that, and I've never heard a professional footballer ever say
We've been talking recently, and I remember hearing about Kieran Dyer. Yeah. And they were like, he was burning £50 notes. Yeah. And then some guy came over and knocked him out. That's not what happened. Basically, he was dehydrated from the game. He went to try and get some water from the bar and fainted at the bar. Yeah. And then we had a message on our Twitter, literally only last week, some bloke claiming that, oh yeah, Sam, do you remember when you saw me in the bar and you said to me, do you know who I am? And obviously
I was giving the big about being head teacher of Brosley.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen, does it? Like we've all been accused of it, and the reality is, like, it's harder for you, Joe, and you'll get far more accusations than we'll ever have put together. But the reality is, it's nonsense, isn't it?
So what? So people are always going to talk. And
in football, though, Joe, you wouldn't do that. You'd get hammered for doing that. Like if you were doing that, you'd have one of the other lads would go, "What on earth are you doing there? Like, that's embarrassing." What?
It would. You'd have to have.
I wouldn't. It's so ridiculous.
I wouldn't even know the mentality of being able to say it. Like, it's not gaining anything. And certainly, if you have to get to that situation to do that, then you're miles off it, aren't you?
Yeah. And there's been some lads who have been in the game very periodically who have maybe done, not things like that, but done little things that you think to yourself, and then they're out of it again, aren't they? And you always think, he was a right laugh, but he didn't last 2 seconds, did he?
Yeah. So, in terms of that, mate, it was, I don't know, I was known, I was about, just got on with it.
Yeah.
It was, there were moments where it wasn't great, and there was stuff that was said, and I was a part of a few things that I didn't want to be a part of, but what is it at the end of the day? So what? I was just playing football, just trying to play football. Did you
find it hard not to come embroiled in that and want to defend yourself? So you hear some absolute nonsense about it and you're desperate just to come and say, it's not true. Obviously it's not true. You didn't find
feel the need to defend.
No, didn't need to. Been lucky with the group around, the group of people around me, a kind of family, friends, coaches, fellow players and management are the people I cared about, what they knew and how they saw me, and everyone else was completely out of my control.
Yeah. You're in a circle.
Yeah.
Family and friends know what you're about, don't you?
That was a good club, by the way, in a circle. Loved it. Good nights in Manchester there, mate.
Joe, talk to me about Dave scoring against you for Wolves against Man City.
Mate, buzzing.
It was mental.
Because he ain't sharp about it to us, so you might as well give us your side of the story.
He's right, because he's top of the table. He's in a relegation scrap, man.
Absolutely. Building into it, just thinking, both of us just laughing, like we're both doing exactly what we never thought we'd do, but we're loving it. We're playing for Premier League teams.
How have you two? You ended up.
That's what it was.
Ended up on match of the day. You scoring past you're top of the table. Dave scored, and you're going, how have we come from this little 2-bed in Shrewsbury sitting around? Joe's making a mess of the place, giving you £60 a week.
Put a spade through my wall.
Put a spade through your wall. Suddenly I'm scoring against you. It's a match of the day. What's happened here, lads?
Wait, I remember it. I remember obviously knowing full well at the time that was going to be the winner of how the game went, and I'm not smiling because I'm happy that I've conceded, but it's just a mad situation, and they fully deserve to be scoring the winner against Manchester City, whether it was me in goal or it wasn't me in goal. We were friends before, we've remained friends since. It's a game of football, trying to beat each other from two lads that have come from pretty humble beginnings.
Amazing. How did you celebrate, Dave? You get Joe's face?
Right in his face. Have that.
He wheeled off.
We've had special moments. Like even so, the next game I would have played you for Man City and Molineux was that you relegated us the following season. And I remember still after that we had a conversation after the game. Pretty much met in the middle of the pitch like we did after I scored against you. You're buzzing for me, then you consoling me the next game. Things like that. Of
course, it goes without saying, doesn't it? Of course, it just means that there's that personal touch, isn't there? There's a lot of nostalgia about your moment, like together, and you've had many moments together.
Yeah, it's mad. Just from where we both, we never, certainly not me, and I imagine you the same. You would have never thought.
Didn't think
the
about
success
it
was
all.
coming.
We were
that
just
came.
Me and you were at our point that we were shared in our career. We were both just trying to stay in the Shrewsbury Town first team. That was pinnacle. Yeah. That was peak for us, and we were getting to do it, and it was awesome, and then everything else was a bonus, if you like.
But from there, Joe, you've then got 2 Premier League titles. Not bad, is it? How are they different? And obviously, within that, if you could reflect on that Aguero goal, obviously last goal of the season, probably the biggest moment in Premier League history.
Yeah.
Like, how does that feel, and how are those two title wins different?
Look, the first year I came back, the 2010-11 season from Birmingham, and Manchester City didn't have a strong history at that time in terms of trophies, and obviously people were burning fake £50 notes every time we came to town. There was money getting, fake money being thrown at us, and that's how we were being perceived. But me personally, I loved the fact that I was part of Man City in 2006. What a beautiful club! What a club full of. It was Manchester. It was Manx. Manx supported Manchester City. Manx loved seeing people go out there and try for their team. They didn't really care how they got on. They'd been in League One or whatever it was known as, the old third division. They just wanted their team. They weren't trying to win the league. They just wanted their team represented properly. Really wanted their team represented properly, which then stepping stone to obviously being globally recognised. To how can we put this team down? Oh, it's got no history. It's got no soul. It's got huge soul. It's just not as big a level as Liverpool or Manchester United, or Juventus or Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. But what club has? They're special for those reasons. So we were creating history, and we were strong, and we were united. And then we went on an FA Cup run, and we played Manchester United. I remember it because we were starting to get this group of players who were just there were superstars everywhere, but they were big, strong boys. Big.
Who was that? Do you understand? Was that
Vinny Company? Yaya, Michael Richards, David Silva. Zabaleta, Carlos Tevez, all these kind of boys. Who else did we have? I'm doing a disservice. Kolarov, Clichy, Gareth Barry, Milner. We were
top players, but top people as well.
Top people that had this unique opportunity to do something. Like, we were perceived as always going to be winning things in that period of time, but we weren't at a club that had done that before. So we were able to be firsts in things, firsts in this, firsts in that, first to qualify for the Champions League, first to win the Premier League, as it was. And we were pushing for, at that time, top four. We were trying to get Manchester City into the Champions League, and we got close we were doing well in the FA Cup. Got to the semi-final. We played Man United at Wembley. Man United, Sir Alex Ferguson, Man United, a Paul Scholes, a Rooney, a Giggs, Rio Ferdinand, a Van der Sar, a proper Man United, a Berbatov up front. Yeah. And we were just starting to make the noise as noisy neighbours. And the blue half of Manchester was just buzzing. It was buzzing. Globally, maybe it wasn't that big, but Manchester was buzzing. And we went there, and it was 50% red, and it was 50% blue. And we won 1-0. I actually had a good game, but we won 1-0. Yaya scored. And it makes everything on my body stand up on end now, remembering stuff like that, because people remember Aguero moment. But there was so much more to what we were doing. And then we went to the final. We qualified for the Champions League. We beat previously the year before they'd played Spurs in a kind of, it almost came to a shootout, and Spurs had won 1-0.
Krejci scored.
And then it somehow through footballing gods worked similar the year after for us to secure. We ended up getting third, but to secure fourth in Champions League, and we beat them 1-0. And then we went into the FA Cup final. FA Cup final.
Amazing. Like, you dream as a kid, that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't.
You didn't dream being in the FA Cup final as a kid?
No, I didn't. Not
just wasn't on your radar.
No, it was just on your radar. Wow, it's awesome watching it and knowing that it was huge and it was big moments. I didn't think, I'd love to be there. I just didn't even cross my mind. And then we won the FA Cup final, and the place went.
Who was that against?
Stoke. We beat Stoke 1-0. Yaya scored late. Tough game. And
FA Cup winner.
The feeling was unreal. Like the club, the people. Like, I'd started to really get to know people in and around Manchester, and I've got people that I'm friends with, and always been happy. And you just saw what it did to people and how it made them feel, and being part of it. And we were building something, and I was an FA Cup winner. I think I was 23 or 24. This is nuts. Like, it's a drug. It's an absolute drug. And then we did a parade. We took everyone. Everyone went back to the stadium. The stadium was sold out. We were introduced in the middle. We were messing about on the mics. It was electric. And we qualified for the Champions Leagues. And then the next year we get in the Champions League, and we start on this mental journey where we think, holy shit, we're going to win the Premier League here. We beat Manchester United 6-1 at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I remember that. Amazing.
I keep referencing the fact that Sir Alex Ferguson was their manager, because that is. Growing up, for me, they were just dominant, and everything that he touched was dominant, and there was no way that anyone could get near him, let alone, and if they were going to get near him, they needed to be Liverpool, they needed to be Arsenal, and we were this new team, like, from across the road, we're a couple of miles away. And we went and we won 6-1 there, and we went on some huge games. We went on this Champions League journey, went into the Champions League really excited, smashed. It's a different level, it's a different competition. It's like people say that you're gonna, you don't know what you're doing in the Champions League till you're in it. You don't know how to deal with these teams. I'm away in the Allianz just diving around thinking this is awesome. Ribery one side, Robin, everyone knows he's cutting in on his left. Of course he's going to cut on his left, just show him on his right, cuts in on his left, twists one of our Clichy collar off up, smashes it past me. There's nothing you can do. You're playing against this level of people. There's nothing you can do. And it was just unreal. And then we, how the title race went, we had it in the bag, and then we folded in January. We started to fall to pieces, and Man United did what they always do. They weren't particularly the team of superstars, but they were just powerful. They were Ferguson. And they were putting together results, and the next minute they're 8 points ahead of us with 6 games to go, and they slipped up, and then they slipped up again, and it came 3 games to go. We're playing Manchester United, and we're 3 points behind with a better goal difference. Game got moved to Monday night. They created a match of the day for that game. They've never done that for one game. I remember it. It was just, we had 2 games to go after it, very winnable. Newcastle and QPR.
How were you feeling before that game?
Pumped.
Like climbing the walls?
Like pumped, mate. My eyes
Too much?
No, I don't know. Because I could go on and you wouldn't. I'm a goalkeeper at the end of the day. The whistle goes, and I'm just kind of following the ball and trying to be in the right place at the right time.
It's not like you're going to play, I suppose, like a midfielder where you're just going to run out and 2 foot someone.
Or you can make rash decisions. It was just the buzz around the place was just immense, and we all knew, and they knew what this game. And I think we went one. Vinny scored after about 25 minutes, like the animal that he is, just had about 4 people hanging off him.
Remember it,
Bang.
Class.
Place has gone wild, and we closed the game out really well. I didn't particularly have much to do, and then it was just this build into like what was about to come. We were gonna, at that point, it was completely ours to lose. Went to Newcastle, 0-0, tough game away from home. Everyone, once you get to that level, everyone, all they want to do is stop you from doing it. They don't even know why, but they want to stop you. The crowd wants to stop you. 0-0, struggling, few saves, Tim Krul's end, and then Yaya just went, I'll do it, lads.
Leave this to me, chaps.
Stop fucking about. Just give me the ball, I'll do it. Bosh, 1-0, and then a little bit tight. How St James's is, it's obviously on a bit of hill. We're against the hill in the second half. So we're feeling it a little bit, and then he just went, give me the ball again, did exactly the same, twisted a few people up, 2-0, celebrating with the fans. It's happening because we've got to beat QPR.
QPR already relegated, were they last?
No,
they were trying to stay up.
So they were trying to stay up. So there was a bit on it for them, and then whatever happened.
Must have felt like you're up against a super hoop. So do you know what I mean? Like, the mighty super hoop.
So QPR last game of the season, level on points. Man United,
level on points,
better goal difference.
They're not far superior. They'd have had to have won about 15-0.
Yeah.
So it was win the game and you've won the league.
And you're 2-1 down.
Well,
88 minutes.
1-0 up, then Zaba scored, 1-0 up, battering them. It's not even an issue. It's like a procession. The second half, Joel slips up. Lescott never slips up. Cisse smashes one past me. Then all sorts has gone on. Joey Barton's just lost his mind, started headbutting people. refs had to send him off. We're swarming them. It's 1-1, but people are a little bit nervous. They still feel confident. Down to 10. Someone's broken down the left, whipped it in. I think it was Jamie Mackey.
Yeah.
Banged a header past me, and I'm thinking, oh no, this is not. There's 25 minutes to go here. It's fine. We'll make it happen. We'll deal with it.
But as a goalkeeper, you can't influence this.
I'm completely out the way.
You can't influence
I'm
this
looking
at
at people in the crowd, people that, you get to know people behind your goal, your angles. I've always been quite worked with the crowd. That was a point in the season, in the title race, where you'd constantly games would be going on. You'd make eye contact with someone, you say, what's the score? They'd let you know the scores. Yeah. It was that kind of environment. We were just chasing, and it was just 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go, banging on the door. Paddy Kenny's like Superman all of a sudden. 15 minutes to go.
They're down to 10 men.
Down to 10 men. They're not even trying to cross the halfway line. So, interestingly enough, their result was dependent. Them getting a win or a draw would have been dependent on another result. So then it was 2-2 at the time. It was Stoke versus Bolton. It relegated someone, made them safe if it stayed like that. So we're banging on the door. It's come to 90 minutes, and I'm just like, that's it, we've done it. I'm completely helpless. I was down the other end till my family had the box above the goal that we scored in.
Yeah.
And I'm completely dormant. The QPR have completely stopped attacking. All they're doing is hanging in. So anytime they got it, they banged it. There was no one in my half for the last 20 minutes. And I was just thinking, if we don't do it now, that's it.
And it's not like you need one goal, you need two goals.
We need two. Mancini's literally, in Italian, cursing every single one of us. Fuck you. Because he was a wild guy. He was a wild guy. And then the result came through. In the other game, it was 2-2. QPR was safe. That filtered in. I felt it filter in. That they didn't stop trying, but it definitely filtered in. Then endless corners. Then Edin Dzeko's just dominated in the middle. Bang, 2-2. And I was like, I remember saying it. I was like, fucking well done. That just makes it worse. That makes it worse.
Yeah, he was underrated. Dzeko was. He was some player,
so
mate.
Good.
Wow,
So good.
Just made it worse. So QPR take kickoff because they know they've now got their result. They're not even thinking about getting a win. They took kickoff. Smashed it to me. I've gone and took a throw in, like completely unopposed.
That's an assist for you.
Yeah, no. And then we're banging, and then whatever happened, and then all hell just broke loose, mate. It was the maddest feeling, and it left me in shock for at least close to a day and a half, close to 36 hours, where I was in complete disbelief as to what had gone on. Really struggled to register it, but it was just, I don't know, mate. The stadium went mental. All my friends and family were in there. I don't know.
Is that as good as it's ever got, that feeling?
I don't know. I don't know if it was a good feeling. I don't know what the feeling was. I felt good. There's been plenty of times in my life where things have felt good, and I've just felt happy and I felt content. I don't know what that feeling was.
Your celebration was spine-tingling,
iconic.
Joe.
Lost my mind. That would
my lad now, when he scores a goal, he celebrates like that with his hands out wide, just running around in a circle.
That would probably. I suppose that is my iconic moment, and it's mad that it was nothing to do with me. I wasn't making a save. I wasn't doing anything I was just. And Gail Clichy is a cool cat, and he wasn't involved in the celebration. But I was just running. If I didn't see him, I literally nearly broke. He's only small and frail. I shattered his body, and to the point of he's a bit cooler than me. He was able to go, Joe, you need to let go now. So I let go, and then they kicked the ball out.
You were keeping it in your own corner then for a little bit, weren't you?
And no one chased it.
Yeah.
None of their players chased it. They were 3-2 down because they'd got the result they wanted. They just left it. So even though there was only a minute to go, but you can still cause havoc in a minute, can't you? No.
Dressing room afterwards, ridiculous.
Nuts, mate. Yeah, nuts. And in my opinion, it wasn't nuts enough. So people were happy. I was like, get a champagne. I was just hyped. I was like, people were dyeing their hair blue and being very composed. But this is the first big thing. Well, I suppose other than the FA Cup, there were winners in there. There were people who'd won things. Yeah. So they were happy, but I was beyond level happy. It was extreme moments. And we've got a book that my friend who actually photographed for the team who did it, and there's just huge embraces. And then we went out onto the pitch, and I was distant. My eyes, I was there, but I don't know if anyone was home. I was a bit in shock and a bit in.
Is that an amazing moment to share that with you? Who are your best friends in that team then?
We were tight. We were a good group. There was Milner, Barry, Lescott, Vinny.
So you're sharing that with
company.
They're all really good friends.
We were possibly seen as a team of mercenaries, but we partied together. We worked hard together. We were all of an age where families were starting to develop around us, and we spent a good amount of time together, and we grew into like this kind of world team together, and it was special. It was special. And we've got 10 years coming up actually on the 13th of May, and we're doing something for it, and it's nearly everyone signed up for it because it was a good part of our life.
Love that.
Class.
It's going to be good.
If you have any plus ones,
give us a shout. Any of the lads want to come on in the stiffs?
They'd be up for it.
Let's get company on. Let's get Vinny on.
Yeah.
Cool. So amazing success then with Man City. You must be thinking this is just incredible then. Come along the end of 2016 and Pep Guardiola walks through the door.
Yep.
And then
it was another feeling like under Mark Hughes. It was another feeling. I kind of knew it. I put it on.
How would you know it though, Joe? How would you know that?
I don't know. But I was right. So
yeah,
more of a feeling than a thought.
He's not going to be having me.
I was positioned in the club strong, really strong.
Yeah, massive. I can imagine what you would have been like. A massive, huge, powerful.
I was the club's number one. I was England's. I was playing for England. We were going through a bit of that. They announced Mancini. They announced Guardiola. In the, I I think they announced him in the February or something random like that, just ridiculous. And then Manuel had to see out the season, and we didn't see it out great. We only ended up nicking Champions League on the last day, and the goalie coach was staying. And they were keeping him on, and he was someone that I'd worked with and developed a relationship with, who was in my corner, and he was starting to have conversations with Pep, who was kind of you know what I'm trying to say, revolutionising football in terms of how his goalkeepers worked. He was at Manuel Neuer with Bayern Munich. How he was doing things was something I'd never been in a team that was asked to do that. So it wasn't proven whether I could or couldn't do it, but it was something that would have been easily talked about once you reach a certain level in the English media. Stuff that's topical is more interesting than fact, if you like. So the conversation of whether I would fit into it or not became a conversation, and it became something that the conversations that were going to happen. Like I was constantly getting tackled and trying to play out, and it wasn't working. But I don't know. It developed into something. I just kind of got the idea, and I spoke. I just felt it coming. The Euros didn't go great for me personally. I had a very poor Euros that year. We finished, but ultimately I knew that when I was going to meet him, I got myself back in as soon as I could, and I was going to put it on his toes as to what was going on. And as soon as I did, he was pretty honest with me and said, "Look, you're not going to feature for me. I can't see it working." And then we tried to find the best solution. But
what was his reasons then? Did he have reasons for it, or was it he had his own goal he wanted to bring in?
So it was in China. I flew out early to China because we got extra time off because of the Euros. It's like I want to get in the door. I want to have this conversation.
Because you're quite a straight talking person, so you're like ready for this conversation.
I just want to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Not confrontation. Conversation. However it may be, it may be. I wasn't going in there going, "Do you not like you? You know, I've been here for this long. I'm this. I'm that." And I was fully aware of how he worked with when he went into teams, that people that were seen as leaders in his group, he didn't want all of them to be necessarily part of that group. Because he was, he's awesome. He's awesome at what he does. What a coach. What a manager. Yeah. But he has his ways of doing things and how he runs the show. So I suppose from an outsider looking in, I was a potential stumbling block in terms of a dressing room. A lot of sway, a lot of respect. And anyway, I started the conversation. He was very knowledgeable in my background, very knowledgeable in what we did and how I played football. And it kind of ended with a 2-hour conversation of like, I can't see this working. I was like, right, I thought that might be the idea. I don't agree with you. And he was like, look, I'll be the first person to be proved wrong, but what I see in you is not what I want from my goalkeeper. So I was like,
did you ask him to expand on that?
I was like, it's all very well saying that. I said, but I've never been asked to do any of the things that I know you like your goalkeeper to do. So, I think it's only fair that I'd be given the opportunity. Of course you'd be given the opportunity, but as soon as there's any buts at the end, that there's a decision.
No matter what you're going to do, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, because if it's what it's to be believed, which is like, I want a goalkeeper that can play out, and I don't think Joe can play out. Obviously, to the likes of us, and again, like you rightly say, who are we to argue with like Pep Guardiola? But to us, it's like that is the most ridiculous thing in the world, because obviously knowing what you're like with your feet. I mean, I remember sitting down for your I think it was your Wembley debut for England, and me and Jamie Haynes were like, right, Joe's been announced, he's playing. So we made a big thing of it, got the crisps out, we're going to watch it. And I think the first thing you did was like get it out your feet and like flick it up and teapot volley it to Wayne Rooney, who was right by the dugout. And we were just had our head in our hands. So when it came round to like and I don't know whether that was the case, but if that's what he was alluding to, we were a bit like, that's ridiculous. That's unthinkable for us. But
it's more a system and a way of playing. The more I look at it now, and it was something that I had actually never done. I'd never been a part of that. But that was not down to me not being able to do it. It was just football's developed so much recently, so much. You were almost, even when we were winning things and doing things, like tactically, we would just go out as a strong team. Isolate weaknesses in the opposition and do what you need to do from your end. There was no kind of pivot or holding onto the ball or play at all costs. It was almost make good decisions and try and keep the ball out the net. And like you talked about, it wasn't necessarily me being able to ping a 50, 60-yard ball onto someone's toe. It was a way of playing it, and it was a way of working with the back four and working with the with the number 6 that becomes such a big part of the game nowadays.
So did you feel then, Joe, that you needed the opportunity to show that you could do that and just go, right, well, I want to be able to work with this, like number 6 who's going to drop in and the centre-halves are going to split and the fullbacks are going to get high. I want the opportunity to show I can do that.
Yeah, and I also wanted the opportunity to be coached by one of the best at it. You know, I didn't know how to do it. Of course I didn't know how to do it. Why would I know how to do something that I'd never been asked to do or never taught to do? So I suppose he was right. I couldn't do it. He couldn't just drop me into a team to play like he wanted to at that moment in time, but none of us could. None of us were coached that way. We were coached differently under Roberto. We were coached differently under Manuel. So the Pep thing took time to develop, and I suppose he wanted that quick fix. He ended up trying to sign Claudio Bravo or Mark ter Stegen at Barcelona, who were unbelievable footballers, top footballers, and I'm not naive enough to suggest that if he came in and his options were to buy Joe Hart, ter Stegen or Bravo, he would not buy me. Fine, I totally get that. I wouldn't buy me either if I wanted to play that system because it's not proven. But I just kind of argue, I was there. It wasn't my fault that I didn't. I was
circumstance.
I was part of this club. I was a pretty able goalkeeper.
Pretty
bit of an understatement, that, isn't it? Yeah.
We'll give you that.
I'm all right, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not bad.
The Red Lion says it.
I was willing to bleed for the club. It was a club that I loved deeply. But those things go out the window when it comes to football, when it comes to business, when it comes to high end. So I didn't agree with it. But looking back now, and even at the time, I was like, look. You've got to do what you've got to do. I'd love to be here and love to be a part of here, but if that's not what you see, then we need to work out the best way for this to go, because it was pretty clear that I couldn't have fitted into that system straight away. I couldn't.
And like everything positive in your career, that you've just been very much like it's matter of fact, and I've got to roll with the punches. That it was similar in this instance.
Yeah. There was no other way to look at it. What could I do? I knew. It was like me. I couldn't say to him, "Are you mad? Just watch me. I'll go out there and I'll play this exact system." I couldn't say that because I didn't know it. None of us knew it. Not one of us. But, goalkeeper is a very specific position. He was probably ahead of his time in making it that position. So the fact that he knew that he couldn't just drop me into it, he immediately that was enough for him. Knowing what he needed to do for him to get success at the club meant that I wouldn't be a part of it. And whoever and whatever I was to that club, you're going to have to deal with it because I know what I want to do and you don't fit into it.
Football's ruthless, Joe, but you shared some amazing times with, say, Company and Silva and Aguero, and then suddenly you think, I'm no longer going to be a part of that. I mean, that must have been so tough to take. It
was tough, but I was also playing for England, and I knew that I wouldn't be playing for England if I wasn't playing for someone. I certainly wouldn't even be in the reckoning for it. So
was it West Ham that came along then?
No, I went to Torino.
Oh, Torino then. Okay.
What a culture shock! What a culture shock that must have been.
It was tough, Sam, but it also wasn't, because I don't really get too caught up in the fact of the stuff that it was taken away from me. So what? Like, I'm not bigger than anyone. I'm not bigger than anything. And if that's going to be my path, then that's my path. People of Manchester City will always forever. People of Manchester City will forever be in my heart. I'll forever be grateful for that. But the team, the hierarchy, they're businessmen, and the other guys are players.
And those people are still your friends. So like you'll speak to Vincent Company.
Yeah, they're my guys, mate. We go way back.
Forever.
We go far. How can I be able to be on a pitch with Dave as an opposition and be genuinely happy when he scores the winner against me? Because there's more to life than football. There's such bigger feelings to it than what people probably see and what it is.
We talk about friendship, don't we? And being a good human. I mean, we took being a good person. We spoke a lot like Conor Cody, didn't we? It's first and foremost be a good person, isn't it? And I think you met some unbelievable lads.
Yeah,
that were still your mates, regardless of the other things that have happened. You've got those memories with them.
Good guys, mate. But also people move on. People will say, it won't feel the same. It won't feel the same. I know people that I've felt it won't be the same. They're gone. You get on with it. Joe Hart left. They get on with it. Someone else is in goal.
Football, isn't it?
So what?
Absolutely.
And
Life.
Torino comes round, but obviously you're off the back of a Euro, so you're back in late.
Yeah.
Then you've had this conversation with Pep and all things
Oh,
like
mate.
that. So did that kind of harm your chances that of going to Premier League? Because by that time you're approaching the season and everyone sorted them. Goalies is a position where you get sorted early usually, isn't it?
David, it destroyed my chances.
Yeah.
It just was just such it was the same as Birmingham. I think I just signed a huge 5-year deal, probably
Biggest contract of your career.
biggest contract in my
Massive
career.
money.
If I'm 12 months into it, I'll be very surprised. I can't even remember. So I'm England's goalkeeper. You know, I'm earning great money
Top of your game.
as a goalkeeper, and no one has that in their budget or has that in their mindset to go and take a goalkeeper if they haven't made that decision from the previous October, let alone it's August, mate. Joe Hart is available. Do you want him? Well,
Can't afford him.
Well, no. I think it's of course we want him, but
Yeah.
like you rightly say, there you've just signed.
but we've got 2 goalkeepers that we've trusted and that we've set up with. You know, you're going to have to take his wages on if you're going to take him on loan, or if you're going to buy him. Manchester City all of a sudden can't seem to be looking foolish and give me away, so they want massive money. And I'm like, guys, come on, you know, you can't have it all. You can't just like completely crush me at this club and then stop me from going elsewhere. So it was just one thing was happening, then something fell through, and then other things were happening. I was like, look, I get it. It's tough. Scour the globe. I'm willing to play anywhere. Like,
The timing was tough. Then,
How was your
wasn't it?
family life there at that stage? How did that affect your mentality away from football? Difficult.
it was hard for them because they were all so emotionally involved in and wanted to protect their friend, wanted to protect their boyfriend, wanted to protect their son. Like, Jesus, now I'm a father. Are you kidding me? How that must have felt.
Yeah.
But it was easier for me because I was living it. You know, it was a lot easier for me because I knew all the facts. I knew everything, all the things. But constantly having to relay things, and I had to calm people down and say, look, you know, like, this guy, how can he do that? Like,
I remember speaking to your dad in Shrewsbury, and he was annoyed. He was annoyed about it.
I've had to. It's been however many years, and he's only just calming down about it. And I always used to.
I remember telling me he went off about Pep, and I was like, oh,
that's a good father though.
Well, exactly. But it annoyed me at the time because I was like, Dad, I don't want to have to be having this conversation with you. I don't want to have to be calming you down when I'm the. But yeah. I'm a father now. Like, are you kidding? There's no way. There's no way I would let anyone.
No, I get it now.
But that was just. It was just intense. But it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun. There was mad things going on. There was huge opportunities here, there, everywhere, and then it even got to the point of it was the window closing at the end of August. I've gone away with England. Big Sam's just got the England job. I'm having a convo with him. He's like, you know, Sam's a very straight guy. He's like, look, Joe, in my opinion, you fully deserve to be playing for England. I'm going to play you, but you need to be playing for someone. And it's not, man.
Which is fair, isn't it?
And I'm like, look, you bang on. Thank you for picking me in the first place because the season had already started and I was on the bench.
Yeah, on the bench at City, and he's put Willie Caballero in, who was number 2 the year before.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of an insult in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no disrespect to Willie, but it was a move to say, look, you are not playing.
He's not your replacement.
Not playing.
Yeah.
Fans right behind me, backing me, like there was a bit, you know, they were disappointed, but they couldn't believe they got Pep Guardiola. They knew the club was going to go.
And you know you're not going to outlast Pep in terms of they've waited so long for him, so it's not like you can hang around and wait for a new manager.
And he would not take that job without complete control. Like his bargaining hand when he came to negotiating with Manchester City was huge. Yeah. Unless he had complete control to do what he thought he needed to do, there was no way he was taking it on. So all those things in mind, I knew I had to go, and stuff kept going wrong in terms of it was done and dusted here, then there'd be a loan fee, or done and dusted here. And
was you ever close to going anywhere else?
Yeah, I was close. I was close to a couple, and then I was like, whew. I was away with England, and we went away with England. So from August till the September, so it needed to be done. And
just on that, Joe, sorry, I heard, and again, I literally only on the grapevine, Liverpool, Arsenal, all these big clubs who understandably would want you, but I think, was it politics or finances and stuff that would have got in the way?
As Dave said, they'd already planned to do what they needed to do, and you know, I was 4 years left on a big deal, so even to take wages on was tough in a structure that was already there. Everyone had done what they needed to do. let alone buy me. Because City had to save face. They couldn't say, out of respect, you've been great to us. We're going to, 1 mil, off you go, pal.
Yeah.
So for people listening then, that's like, so Liverpool, for example, they'll go, we'll budget for these 2 goalkeepers.
No, I don't, yeah. But so those guys were an easy conversation for people to write about, because all of a sudden the story's now changed and it's something for people to talk about and have opinion on. But the actual hard facts of having conversations with clubs were like, look, we can't even have the conversation with you. No, whether we want him or not, they might not have even wanted me, but whether they wanted me or not, it's just not even a conversation we've done. And then it was kind of floated to me of, have you heard of Torino? And I'm like, well, look, I do. I used to watch Italian football when I was a kid. I didn't have Sky. I watched Channel 4. And I was like, you're being serious. How can I be available to Torino, but I'm being blocked at all these clubs, huge clubs.
Established Premier League teams.
Premier League and teams in Europe, these huge clubs, but financially it can't work. Why can it work for these? I'm to be honest.
So how did it work then? Because that's
great question. I didn't care. I was like, you know what? It's above what I can do. So there's a viable option of this, right? So I just thought.
But if you're Man City though, just to jump in there though, it's like what you've said. You've alluded to a couple of times. Man City can't be seen to be being silly. So if they end up sending you to Liverpool, and I don't know if these guys are in it, all hearsay, Liverpool, Arsenal, and all of the big hitters, like. From the supporters' perspective, are they safeguarding themselves by going, actually, Joe's going to another country, to another club, actually, we'll swallow half 3/4, 80% of his wages, and we'll just send him out there and he's a little bit out of the way? Do you think
it was perfect for them, for what they wanted to do. It was perfect, but I didn't care how it looked. I didn't care if it looked like they were
just
winning.
Wanted to play.
I was winning. Like, none of that matters. None of that matters.
So did your family move with you to Italy?
Yep.
I mean, what was that like?
I went. I made this decision all very late, quick, and I was like, end of August. Even the conversation.
So, Kim, by the way,
yeah,
where are you? In Tesco?
We're going to be moving.
Yeah,
where to? Just get your passport.
Yeah. That's what it was like, and I had to make this decision whilst I was away. It became real. It became
how old are your kids, by the way?
My son's 7, and my daughter's 4.
So you had Harlow out.
For Torino, 7
No.
My youngest, my oldest boy, he was 2 at the time.
Yeah.
So he was only in nursery.
So I suppose it's an easy move.
Yeah.
And it was
dead easy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, it was piece of cake. What's all the fuss about, Joe? Get yourself there. Love that.
So baby, don't know the language. We've got a 2-year-old. I'm going to be at training all day. You'll be in this hat. All the best. Yeah. Tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I kind of spun it in the only way that I can spin things, of like, what a great adventure, what a great opportunity.
Amazing.
There's absolutely nothing. There's absolutely, I'm not going against any of my love or principles for the club. They've done what they've done to me. There's no way back. There's no point in arguing. There's no point in saying whether it's fair, whether it's not fair. None of that matters. This is what I can do. I'm up for it. You're up for it. Got my back. I got your back. Sam, is that okay with you? Does that make sense to you? He was like, go and do what you need to do over there. Obviously, it'll be a work in progress. You're not guaranteed anything, but Serie A. So I was like, right, I can't train tomorrow. I need to fly to Italy. Is that okay? 2 or 3 days before his first game as England manager. And he was like, ideally no, but you're telling me that's the only thing you can do. I said, I swear, I'll fly in the morning. I'll do what I need to do, and I'll fly back in the evening. So he's like, right, okay. So release me.
Brilliant. So Sam Aiston was brilliant with you.
Fair play.
Yeah, he was good. Jumped on a plane into the complete unknown. Don't even know what happened.
You got an amazing reception. I remember seeing it on Sky Sports.
Mental reception. Or what a play. What a city that I hold dearly to my. It's something that I'm so proud to do, and really proud to be affiliated with that club, because it was a wicked club, mate. It was proper club of the people. It was, in my opinion, the Manchester City of Turin. They had Juventus, this powerhouse, this kind of people that everyone supported all over the world. But anyone who supported Torino was with the culture of Italy, passing on shops and restaurants through the generations of the families.
Or the heart of the city.
Yeah, like we did there, Davey. It was they were Granata. They were Torino, and they'd suffered same as Manchester. They'd suffered. They were in the shadow, and they just wanted people to represent their club properly, and they saw me as that, and I really appreciated the welcome that I got, and I loved it, mate. Absolutely,
brilliant time there.
Loved it. But it got spun. In January they were like, "Would you stay?" I said, "Look, I can't stay. It just doesn't work. I doubt that any deal will be able to be struck. I doubt wages will be able to be agreed. I've got 3 years left. And then from that moment, the president he was looking after the best interests of his team, who he also owned about 30 of the 40 papers out there, began to spin that it was a mutual decision not to carry on, and they were thankful for what I did, but they weren't going to try and pursue the permanent, which is a great line back home for it to then be a failure, perceived as a failure. But I know what it was, and I visit that city now and love it.
Can you speak Italian?
I did, mate. I tried.
Ho studiato un po' di italiano alla scuola.
Un poco. That was
that's my B and GCSE Italian coming out there.
I tried.
I only know one word. I'm not sat on there.
So I tried, mate, and I said, same as I said to Alex McLeish, I said to the family, once we're here, we are fully Torino. That is the badge that we wear. That's the badge that I want to represent. First time I'd lived in the city, literally lived everyone banging the mixer. Juventus players walking around, Torino players walking around, fans having a coffee. Such a cool way to live life. Like, loved it. Tried my best with Italian. Did my best. People appreciated me for trying. Useless, absolutely useless. Not learned anything other than football previously for 14 years. Not had to. All I need to do was know how to play football. Tried to learn language. Tried my best. Like I said, didn't do very well, but.
What was it like when you went to West Ham doing Cockney then? Was it
struggled there.
So was that the next stage? Was West Ham the next stage?
Yeah, so it was do alone, Joe. Get your head down, keep in the England team, do alone, and then we'll get the permanent sorted in the summer.
Is this January then? So you've done 6 months in Torino?
No. Do the full year, fully commit. Do the full year. Stay in the England team. Do enough to stay in the England team.
Yeah,
and then come back, and then you've got. Then we're gonna.
So you did one whole year in Torino.
One whole season. Yeah. Then it was make plans to move from there to put this behind us and start again fresh somewhere. The summer just started getting crazy.
Are you still on your Man City contract?
I'm still I still got 3 years left at Man City.
3 years left to go on a massive deal.
Yeah.
Which again is brilliant, but also you're struggling for someone to take over that.
Yeah, someone to come up with the money to take me on, because City again to save face. I wasn't getting given away. And that summer surprised me. I thought that I'd be able to sort something out, but I couldn't. It was loans. It was only people willing to do loans. It was a couple of good options, and I'd said at the start to my representatives, I was like, I am not going on loan again. I'm 30 years old. You do that when you're a kid. Like, you don't go on loan when you're my age. And especially how I like to do things. I like to completely throw myself in and represent and just be a part of something. And I didn't feel I could do that properly on loan. But what I wanted didn't matter. Again, the only options were 2 potential Premier League teams. I spoke to Slavan, liked what he had to say, wanted to come to West Ham, always had a good feeling about West Ham before I knew what they were about. And I saw it as a great opportunity, still playing for England, World Cup year, playing well for England, really, really establishing myself as a senior man in that team.
So then on to West Ham, Joe.
Yeah.
Great club. Enjoy your time there?
Oh. No, West Ham didn't go well for me. It didn't.
This is Bilic.
So Slavan brought me in. We were on the same page, obviously talking and discussing when there were decisions to be made. I think it's a great opportunity. He really liked me as a goalkeeper, and I'd worked with Golden Sullivan, the chairman, when I was at Birmingham. So West Ham are always that team that have had the potential to be something. They're a strong footballing heritage, big in the Premier League. They're a big club. They are a big club, and I was excited. And I went, and we didn't start great. It wasn't going very well, and Slavan was falling out of favour at the club. They weren't. They were starting to not quite back him. The fans were starting to turn on him, and I think we all know that at West Ham that's not a good place to be. So it got to a point. I think we lost at home to Liverpool 3-1, and that was it, gone. And then I think I can't remember what happened then. Whether it was immediate, whether they'd lined David Moyes up or not. Whether they did or whether they didn't, they brought him in. And to be honest, he brought a good bit of steel into the club.
What was Moyes like, Joe?
Very simple. It was lacking. West Ham at the time, I felt, was lacking kind of direction. They were, Slavan was in, and they'd had like a bit of a golden period with him, with Dimitri Payet and things like that, and stuff was happening, and then it wasn't, and then it really wasn't. And it was a strange setup there. There wasn't much connection between people in charge, management, fans, players. It was just kind of a bit...
New stadium as well when you were there.
Yeah, it was kind of just a bit everywhere. and David Moyes was bought in. Again, he was bought, I can't even remember what the contract he was bought in. He might have been bought until the end of the season, so there was no real stability with that. But it was almost just settle everything down, keep them in the Premier League, and we'll go from there. And it was almost keep them in the Premier League, then we'll get a new manager and we'll move on from there. So anyway, Moyes came in. He just wanted the basics. He wanted people to work hard, wanted people to train properly, and all the things that I fully expected. I had my standards that I'd been a part of, that I'd kind of kept from Shrewsbury, but also I still had the same standards as when I was trying to win leagues and play for England. And it still wasn't going very well. I wasn't perfect, but I wasn't doing particularly bad. None of us were. And then he just decided that he was going to take me out of the team, put Adrian in, who was 2 at the time. And he said to me, he was very conscious of my England stuff and only being on loan, and it was a World Cup year. But he felt it was the right thing to do at the time, and he'd eventually put me back in when he could. So I was like, right, okay, well, you're the manager. There's nothing I'm going to do to change. Just so you know, I'll continue to be exactly how I have and always will be. I'll be at it. I'll be bang at it. I'll be training like I'm playing. I'll be supporting the team. And
was your training ever dip at any point, or you were training as hard as you?
Not my efforts. My efforts have never changed. In fact, we obviously went quite quickly over Manchester City. There was time that I came out of the team once there. Which was the first time that football I think I was about 26, 27. I went, oh, this is tough. First time I actually thought, there's something to this. Anyway, worked on it, did what I needed to do, got back in. It was the year that we won the league the second time. I missed 5 games, I think. Got myself back in and got myself into form. Yeah, he took me out of the team, and it was just strange, mate. It was just it's a strange club when it's not going well. It's not an easy club to be at. It's not an enjoyable club to be at. And that's not me talking badly. West Ham are solid and they're doing great now. Good for them. And under Moisey, they're doing great under him. And so I was kind of on the bench. And actually, a really nice thing came from this. So I'm playing. I'm out the team come January. And who do West Ham draw in the cup? Shrewsbury Town.
Oh yes,
of course.
They draw Shrewsbury Town,
of course.
And you know what? I had a moment where I nearly punched myself in the face after about a week. And my wife, I appreciate it for that. I was like, I'm going back I'm going to go back somewhere I want to go, and I'm going back. I'm playing because I'm out of the first team. I'm out of this. Poor me, boo-hoo. I'm not playing in the Premier League, going to Shrewsbury Town and having to play in the FA Cup as that kind of...
Yeah.
And then it was quickly pointed out to me. It was like, whoa.
A reality check.
Shut up, you idiot. And I went, you're right, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
What an opportunity this is. What a great feeling. In amongst all the crap, like what a great feeling.
Made a big save off Matt Sadler.
I remember, big save.
Played at...
Point blank, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Played at the New Meadow.
Did you meet up with anybody afterwards or anything?
I met the boy. My pals come and met me the night before. We stayed in Telford because you don't play in Shrewsbury when you stay in Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
That's the Telford Golf and Country Club.
Yeah,
isn't
something
it?
like that.
Yeah,
that was the one.
Yeah,
that's where we were.
Little plug for them.
Yeah. And then it was class, mate. It was class. I went back to Shrewsbury Town, played against Shrewsbury Town.
Did you see many old faces or anything?
Not really. It's moved on. It was obviously in the totally different stadium.
I came to watch. Dave just to watch Wolves. He doesn't bother with Shrewsbury.
No. To be fair, this is quite nice as well because I went to the game and me and Dave Timmins did the half time with the BBC One or Match of the Day or whatever it was.
We did a draw, the half-time draw.
Yeah, Golden Gamble. No. So it was live on BBC, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and
it was.
Me and Timo did a little bit at half time, and Timo.
He was buzzing, Timo, as well.
It was nice,
Timo, you put everything on social media, mate. He was sending me pictures. He had everything on Instagram. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So you made the most of it. Again, that's your mentality, though, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because again, your first impression is I'm going back there. But I'm not going back as the first choice. Well, actually, let's have a little reality check here. I'm going back with West Ham United after I've been. This is where it all started, and since then I've gone on to unbelievable things.
And it was a safe place for me because at the time, I'm not playing for West Ham. West Ham fans make it clear when they're not happy with you. They weren't happy with me. I was for sure a senior player at their club that wasn't performing for the badge that they cared for, and they articulate it differently down there. You're getting called a few names, and that's just standard.
How did you respond to that?
It's whatever, mate. It's whatever.
Did you ever get vocal about in response?
No.
You're not like that?
No. The only time that I've ever really spoken to people in the crowd is when when you can see someone losing their mind at your sheer presence being there. And all I've done, most of the times I've kind of looked at whoever they're with and gone, is he all right? Is he actually all right?
Keep an eye on him. Someone get
Or
defibrillator.
I'll just say, I hope your son and daughter aren't going to grow up to be like their father, who's just stood there calling me every name under the sun for literally just playing football in front of him. Yeah. So that's the only time that I've ever really said anything. Yeah, it was a safe place. I was going back to Shrewsbury Town. I was safe. It was a stadium
where you love.
Yeah.
Idolised. Loved.
It
Idolised.
was safe. It was
rightly so.
It was family. It was schools. It was everything that I knew. I knew where it was. I might not have played at the stadium, but I had childhood memories. My senior school was around the corner from there.
You knew you got everybody in the crowd wishing you well. Haven't
Yeah.
you? You know, that, like,
Yeah, and
however 8,000 or 9,000, whatever the attendance was.
And
when you saved that point blank header from Matt Sadler, even the Shrewsbury supporters were jeering.
Yeah.
Your reception was, I remember.
Yeah, it was not, and I remember kind of the West Ham fans kind of softening a little bit as well, seeing that was my rapport. And it was, I didn't.
Again, it brings a bit of humility. Humanises you, doesn't it, a little bit? You haven't come here as a Man City goalkeeper. You come here as a kid who started out at Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
As a boy, as an innocent lad.
And a stadium that, I'd like to think my transfer fee helped with. All things like that were in my mind.
Yeah, you built 100%. Definitely 2 stands of it, I reckon.
Yeah.
And
I minded the toilets.
But even to the point of I didn't account for how low, like it was I think it was a midday kickoff, and the stand was so I couldn't see a thing, so I had to. The West Ham kit man hadn't packed. J-Mo was wicked kit man. I'm not calling him out for some reason or another. There was no cap.
Next time, put a fucking cap in.
Yeah, I borrowed a cap from a West Ham fan. I borrowed a cap because I was like that.
I remember you wearing a cap as well.
I was like, I can't see. So and he was like, yeah, I have it. I was like, are you sure? Do you mind me having it? I made sure I gave it back. And we drew 0-0. It was good. It was a nice moment. Anyway, so my West Ham career, that was nice. Other than that, eventually it was getting nuts. It was getting nuts. West Ham weren't doing great, even when I wasn't in the team. Adrian did well, but not well in terms of results as a team. And he eventually said, I think it's time. I'm going to put you back in. Aware of the World Cup coming up. I was still actually playing for England at the time. Me not being in the team coincided with the last international break of November to March, so I didn't play much in there. But there were no England games, so I didn't realise what was being plotted. So then the March one came round, and I was back in. I was back in, and I did not hit the ground. I had a tough game against someone. I had a good game. Then I think I played well at Chelsea, drew 1-1, and then I had a moment at the very end of a Burnley game, playing Burnley at the time, and one came off me, and then someone slid tackled it in. It might have been Barnsley or some lunatic or Chris Wood, and they ended up beating us 3-0 that game. And I was definitely accountable for one of the goals. I wasn't accountable for the other, but whatever. That was my focus, and I couldn't afford to do things like that. If I wanted to carry on being where I wanted to be. And then, don't know if you remember it, guy ran on the pitch. Mark Noble nearly had a fight with him. He took it was just carnage, mate. It was utter carnage. They were trying to smash the board. It was just animals.
If I remember rightly, Joe, was this the transition of the grounds as well? Like they'd just gone to the Olympic Stadium.
I think they were 2 or 3 years into the Olympic Stadium.
They were fuming.
And no one liked it. The supporters were fuming.
There was a lot of like ambiguity with the council, wasn't there? And the fact that they'd gone from really East London to right out by the Olympic Stadium. Yeah. There was just a lot of and I think you've sort of bared the brunt of that, really, haven't you?
How does that affect you then, Joe? Because like we said, it's always carefree. It is what it is. Is that starting to get tough? Is that affecting you in any way mentally? Oh,
it just felt tough. It just felt like it's not finding its path. But I at this point, I'm so kind of in my zone of how I do things and how I work in terms of working hard, training hard, doing things right off the field, and then what happens on it? It happens. It just happens. I'm not perfect. I've never claimed to be the best goalkeeper in the world, and it just wasn't happening. It was in patches, in large patches. I was doing what I knew I could do. I knew that I had the trust and the respect of the players, but it just wasn't happening. It was the first place I'd gone actually where I certainly wasn't necessarily liked or respected by my own supporters.
From your fans, not from the lads. Good set of lads.
Yeah, great set of lads.
Do you know what though, Joe? I know a lot of people obviously from that part of the world, and I think there was again, it must have been really tough for you at the time, but I think there was a lot of people, there was a lot of disgruntlement in the fact that they'd moved from Upton Park, and they're East Londoners, so they're all about East London.
You're all the same to me, mate. I'm from the north. I don't like any of you.
Well, I'm an Essex boy, so it spills into Essex as well. So I think they're all about East London. So when I think it was more about the club, I think they wanted to fight the club. There was a real power struggle, wasn't there? And I think
you were just like a bit of a byproduct of
I think, I don't think, and again,
you should have got Newcastle, Joe.
You lived it, Joe, didn't you? You lived it, but I would say that wouldn't have been personal.
But and I wasn't perfect. I absolutely wasn't. It was definitely a point in the career where there was a few moments where I thought, I was like, that's not me. But none of us are perfect, but I think it was all kind of a storm of, it just didn't feel right, and that was, some of it's on me, some of it's on whatever, but they were the facts. And then I think I came out with, I got back in and then came out for the last 3 games of the season, and then we were going into the World Cup at this point, and it just all felt a bit kind of, it was all mushy. I didn't know what was going on.
I think what I'm saying is, I think even if you'd have been at the top of your game at that time, I think there was so much tug of war in that club at the time because of the fans and the board and whatever. It would have been tough for you.
Yeah, maybe, but it was how it was.
So moving on from there, then, Joe, it was a disappointing time. Then you went to Burnley with under Sean Dyche. Now, I know Dyche, he's an intense man, isn't he?
This is your first time away on a permanent as well, wasn't it?
So I've got a year left on my contract here.
So you've gone on loan to Burnley?
And my thought process had worked. I'd kept the previous 2 years. I'd gone back to Manchester City and done the pre-season with them because nothing was sorted. Which was
that ever difficult, or was that just norm? You meet the lads together, did you feel a bit odd?
It was completely odd. But at the same time, I hate to keep saying it like it's so blasé, but it was exactly what it was.
How were you with Pep then?
Sound.
Just like morning Pep, morning Joe, morning Gaffer.
Yeah. There was no. So I'm not that guy, and he's not that guy. That's the last thing he needs.
Because you're such a big character, though. From Pep's point of view, I would imagine he would think, "Oof, I've got this big character coming back." There's a lot of sway in the dressing room.
But the sway that I've always carried has always been positive. Has always been pulling people together. Has always been. It's never been a negative sway, ever. So I was never. It's just not me. I just couldn't.
Someone who tries.
Were you always just straight back with the first team? So pre-season,
yeah,
they wouldn't kick you with the 23s or nothing like that.
No, there was never that. It was train with us till you needed us. Train with it. Do what you need to do to train. And I'd be used pre-season as well because people were coming back and stuff like that. So
what about so when you went back this time, had they got Edison by this point?
They just had a year with Edison. They had Claudio, and then they bought Edison in the year.
Impressions on Edison? Because obviously he's
good, very good goalkeeper. Loved if you could hand pick a goalkeeper for that team, I'd pick him.
Yeah,
he's perfect for that. Is he in other teams? I'm not sure. He's still right up there, but in terms of Manchester City, he's the perfect goalkeeper.
Yeah. So
good for him, top keeper, and he was a sound guy. He was a cool guy who trained hard. It was nice to train with him and see that he had the similar. He had the same mentality of he just loves it, just loves going in goal. Just didn't speak much English. Just got after it. People shot him. He tried his best to save it, and his natural ability to play with the ball is the best in my opinion. So at this point, I've now been at the last hurdle, been not invited to the World Cup, not even in the squad. Bosh. So gone from 1 to completely out of the squad, which I'd imagine we can talk about when we talk about international. So now I'm just like, I was like, do you know what? I had a year left on my contract, and I said, that's me. I'm not going out on loan. I'm not doing anything. I'll quite happily not do anything. I'll sit here.
How much of a deal is the money at this stage when you got 1 year left to go? Do you think I need to keep that same amount of money? Or you think I'm not even bothered if I have to take a pay cut?
Not bothered in the slightest.
It makes
more fed up with the system at this point.
Yeah. Fed up with the system, mate. Like literally sat down with the chief exec and went, just to be clear, I have no intention of going anywhere. I've got no intention of going anywhere. I'm not going on loan. No one's going to buy me because of what's just happened. I'm going to be here. I'm not going to be a problem, but I'm going to be here. I have no intention of doing anything, and unless anything changes. But right now, this is me. This is me. I'm upset. What's a year to me at the moment because it's not going as I want it to. So if it needs me taking a year to just regroup, reset, and go again, then so be it. I think I would have been. I think I'm 31 or 32 at the time.
So there's two sides of that, Joe. There's the one where people will just assume that, well, I'm staying here, I'm staying on my contract as what it were. But you're like, well, I'm sick of the system. I just want to go somewhere that's going to fit me.
Yeah.
And then there's that other side where, is there a little bit of you, you know, like when you're saying you're given those opportunities in pre-season games and you're in training, like, and I've been there myself, where you just like, you complete right off, obviously, like at a much lower level, but like, and you think, oh, have I still got like a little bit of a chance?
No, I didn't.
I
was even at the point where I didn't want it. I didn't want one. There was not one going to be offered to me, but I didn't want one.
Are you, Joe, at any point doubting your ability at this stage?
I'm not doubting that I can stand in goal with gloves. So I don't know what my ability is. I don't know. I actually couldn't tell you right now. I'm in a.
And you never have done.
I don't know. I don't know what my ability is. I don't know what it is. So I can't doubt something that I don't know what it is. I just know that I can go in goal. It's not like I don't know my ability is to necessarily be world class. I don't know that. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. I don't care what it looks like. I know what I am, and I know what I live, and I know when I feel comfortable in a goal, and when I should be there, and when I shouldn't, and how I can fit into a team. So I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't uber confident. Like, I just was really, really aware of what football was and what it was as a system and what it was as a business. So did I doubt that I was going to get taken on by a top team? I knew I wasn't going to get taken on by a top team.
Did your demeanour change though? Because you were so sort of, I was managed to be loud, brash, super confident, life and soul of the dressing room.
No, because
still the same.
No, because I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's a demeanour, but I always just behave and enjoy how I feel. It's not, you talk about the banter we have with shooting and arguing. I'm just having it. I just love poking people. I love getting the best out of people. I love creating competition. So when I am causing havoc in a shooting drill, like havoc, like even last year, I'm second. I was technically second choice at Spurs. I would tell anyone to come and have some. Like, loved.
Remember these days, Joe?
Yeah. Sonny, like,
yeah, but surely Harry Kane scored more than I did last year.
he did, but H is a robot. H is a machine, and H is just there's literally no point in even trying to have that conversation or have that banter with him, because it's just not. He's super like unreal. What a player. But like with like Sonny and Lucas Moura and Dele, all these kind of people that are just names. But I loved being out there, and like I loved calling them out. And Sergio, I loved arguing and loved fighting with them after training. Like I loved it. And I suppose if you were an outsider looking in and you didn't know what we were doing, you'd be like, Jesus, Joe Hart's chirpy. Like, who does he think he is talking to him? Like, he's second choice at Tottenham. Like, his career's done. I've never even thought of it.
But you were like that at 15, weren't
yeah,
you?
and they loved it. I know they loved it. They loved it. They were like, and there'd be days, I'm dealing with world-class players here. There'd be days where I couldn't get anywhere near it, and they couldn't get their head around where I was still standing up going, you're miles off it. I'm not even trying, and you're celebrating when you score. And like those sort of...
Just driving standards, though, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, so in terms of how I was, no. I'd like to think that I've always been the same.
And you were like that, Joe. Like we were saying off air just before we came on, you were like that. It was like to the point where we would scream at you and go, Joe, like just let us slide a few in, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do training. Like Gary Peters is stood there going, guys, if you can't score 1 in 50, then there's a serious problem. And you'd be going, lads, you can't even score past me. And like we'd just be going, Joe, shut up, let a couple in. You got to be better.
I love that.
I remember that.
I love that side of it, though.
So just before we touch on Tottenham, you had a great time at Burnley in terms of the lads, or
good question.
Well, I did the move first come back. You said you weren't ready. You weren't ready to go anywhere unless it was right for you.
I'm like, these conversations are drying up in terms of options, really drying up. And then there was Burnley had Pope, they had Heaton. Yeah. Heats was main man. Popey came in, done really well. Actually, ironically, took my spot for England.
It was strange to get you, wasn't it? Because you thought, well, that's a strange signing again.
Two England keepers there already.
You got two
again,
lads.
like there was kind of loads more to it, and it was it happened. And then Nick did his shoulder quite badly in a pre-season game, out for minimum 7 months. Heats, who'd done his shoulder the year before for Nick to get in, was having calf problems. And Heats, I'm close with Heats. Like we work together with England and like him as a person, respect him as a goalie, and we talk goalkeeper, we talk shop. So I'm getting the feedback that Heats has got a calf injury, and he's potentially going to be struggling for injuries for the whole season. So would I have a conversation with Sean Dyche? Of course I'll have a conversation with any manager who's willing to come and have a conversation. So it was really informal. He said, look, it wouldn't be comfortable to have this conversation publicly. Man City I could have a conversation with everyone. They didn't care. It didn't need to be run by them. So I said, come around my house then. He was like, all I want to do is have a chat. So he came round. He actually referenced the fact that he played against me. Burnley, what they are as a club, they're no bullshit. They are. You're not really exposed to anything. You can come in, you can work hard. They just got off the back of finishing 7th in the Premier League, so they had potential Europe. Sean believed in me as a goalie, believed in me as a player, and it's obviously. He said an ideal situation is, my 2 goalies are injured. I really like my 2 goalies, but if you come in and you can have a good season and you can walk off somewhere else, then everyone wins. So I'm like, I respect that. He was like, man of my word, I do things how I do. I know how you'd like to do things. So I was like, right, okay, this sounds right. It will sound completely wrong to everyone else, but I've spoken to him. Sean is God at Burnley, rightfully so. He runs everything, which is not normal in the higher up, like the bigger clubs. That's not how it works. I was able to come home. I could work from home, good set of lads, and so I was like, right, okay. So then I had the kind of awkward thing of Heats, because I'd been getting information about him that he was, and I was also aware that it maybe wasn't 100% true.
What do you mean?
So obviously Nick was completely out, Pope's completely out, his shoulder's done, and Heats is having calf problems that potentially would rule him out, and the persistent ones. So I was like, right, okay. So basically, Sean, nothing's taken, but if you come, you'll start, and we'll see where we go from there, which is all I can ask for. It's fair.
Yeah.
So then before it was completely, no one knew, because it just didn't feel right to anyone. So no one knew about it. It wasn't picked up on. So then I called Heats the day before and just said, look, this is just a courtesy call, mate. I don't know if you know what's been going on, but I'm quite a long way down the line in coming to Burnley. I didn't want to just turn up on you. I'm not like that. I wanted to tell you because I feel like it's right. I said, I don't know why I'm calling. I'm not asking you to say or do anything or behave in any particular way, but I just wanted to tell you that's what's happening, because I don't want to blindside you. And he was like, I appreciate that. That means a lot. Yeah, I've got my own personal things going on, but that, I appreciate the heads up. So I went in, played, started to play straight away, was playing well. I was actually playing out of my skin, but for us to get tonked, Premier League's tough. Like, I know, like, top end, it's
and
tough.
You're not at Man City now. You're at Burnley, aren't you? So it's different.
We're trying to qualify for the Europa League. We are a thin squad, and at the time there was a slight intention to kind of expand in terms of how we played, to not quite just be smashing it and fighting in the other box, which Burnley were very good at, and defending hard. I played my heart out again, represented the club exactly how I wanted to represent it. And 19 games in, we were exactly half the season. No, 18 games in, I felt personally I was doing everything I could. I was letting goals in, but what can you do? You can't save everything. And I was working hard, and Heats was fit. And then we played on Boxing Day. We lost 5-1 to Everton, which is an awful result. That's big numbers. That's 5. And none of them direct goalkeepers' errors, but 2 of them, two of them, I suppose, with an extra step and a world-class save, you can keep them out, but certainly not at fault. Not
mistakes.
No, far from. And then the next game came round, and Burnley were we were deep in it. Everyone, to be honest, everyone had been changing, and then Sean called me in. He announced the team. I wasn't in it. All right, okay. Went in and just went, come on then, what's going on? And he just.
So he didn't tell you before he named the team?
He didn't, and he always made the point of, I will never tell you before you've been taken out of the team, because
surprising that from Daichi, because I think I would expect him to do
that.
That.
His reasoning was, you never know, because he'd announce it in a shape at the end of the team, and you never know what would happen in that training session. He could announce someone to not be in the team, and then someone could get
We spoke about this in an early podcast, didn't we, about the balance of letting a team know, and Dave's argument was, at that top level, obviously lads are very professional and they do things right, and then at a lower level, you can't really tell them to the day, because if you tell someone you're not in the squad, or you might be on the beer, but in this sense, it's like, I suppose it's a mentality thing. He wants people to be focused, ready to play, And then I suppose the conversation can happen afterwards, can it, or not?
Yeah, look, it's his way of doing it. You know, there's loads of ways of doing things. I've got my own ways of doing things, as I'm sure you have, Gav, you, Dave, you, Sam. You guys would do things. That's the way he did things. That was what worked for him. So I kind of went in and went, look, you know, I'm a big boy. Like, heads up, it's pretty awkward when you stood out there. But anyway, get over it. Which
I agree with, by the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, why am I not in? You know, is there more? Basically, Joe, I'm not going to gloss it, and this is the truth. You can take it how you want. I've literally tried everything, and the one thing I haven't tried is the goalkeeper. So that's what I'm going to do.
Nothing you've done wrong.
Yeah, and in fairness, he said, I don't expect you to be okay with it. I don't expect you to be, but that's my reasons. I said, look, that's tough to hear, but you're the manager. Like I've always said this, you're the manager. You make the decisions. You know, I've come in and asked you, and you've told me, and I think that's the truth. If that's the truth, and he's like, that's the truth. I was like, right, okay, look, I said, just so you know, just to be clear, I will behave like I'm playing. I will train like I'm playing. I will support the team like I'm playing because I'm here, and that's how I see it, and I won't change for anyone. That will be what you will always get with me. And he was like, well, you know, and I went out and I shook his hand and I said, right, let's go. It's done. And then from then on, Heats came in. He was awesome. He was great. And the team,
like Shay Given back in the day with you.
He was great. Yeah, he was great. He came in. The team went back to I think it was West Ham at home. Who I knew well were in that kind of transitional period, and if you were solid and you could really put a performance in at West Ham at that time, you could beat them. Yeah. It was a Burnley day on the 28th of December, or whenever it was. You knew at Burnley if it was windy, wet, and aggressive weather, the boys stepped up. They knew how to perform in those moments, and the team was great. And then Heats played the rest of the season.
You were number 2 for the rest of the season.
I was number 2, and then even the FA Popey was getting back fit, so I was number 2. And then Popey would play the FA Cup games even because that was part of his rehabilitation. So it's
a sucker punch, isn't it?
It's just
we'll
nuts.
ask him about anyway. We want to get Dai Young because I was with Northampton, so we want his number after this. So we'll text him and we'll get him on. We'll ask him about that then as well.
No, it was a situation, and then it was like I think I had a year left on the contract, but I was like, look, obviously I need to go. You know, Popey's now fit. Heats is playing well. He's your club captain. You know, I need to go, and they were like, look, we're not going to stand in your way. You know, there's a contract, but you know how, in fairness to him, he said how we spoke a year ago. You know, it's fine if you find somewhere, go for it. So I've tried to find somewhere, mate, and I could not find anything. The footballing world was officially not
closed off to you.
It was closed, mate. It was done. I was done. So I was like, right, okay, can't be giving away now.
So you're speaking to your agent now, and is your agent being brutal with you, telling you?
Yeah, because I expect nothing less. I've always asked for that from everyone. And the truth is far better to me than any sort of padding. I was long enough in the tooth to hear, you know, we're thinking about having, you know, this conversation. I was like, and I through the years I've gone like, I don't want to hear about a conversation. A conversation's a conversation. I can technically have a conversation with Arsenal if I ring the Arsenal hotline and say, do you fancy a goalie? I've had a conversation with Arsenal. I've technically had a conversation with Arsenal. They are not going to sign me. So we were like, look, I'm willing to. I think I was 32 or 33,
which is not old for a goalkeeper.
So I said, look, I've done I've been away before. I fancy it. I think it's right. I thought, let's find somewhere abroad. Let's sign a proper, you know, a decent time. Don't really care what they pay me. Not that bothered. And it just wasn't happening. It just was not happening. So I was like, phew. So I ended up having to stay at Burnley. Heats ended up leaving. Popey was one, but it was never a question that I was even in the line for playing. I didn't expect to, and they didn't expect to ever really have to make a decision whether, you know, say Popey had a dip in form, it wouldn't be like, it was never going to happen. But it was fun. Again, that was what was happening, and that was what I had to do, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Train as hard as I could, and I didn't know what was next, and I wasn't scared of what wasn't next, but I just didn't know.
At this point then, so you've had another year at Burnley.
Yeah.
You're approaching the end. You signed a 2-year contract there. You're approaching the end. Is your mindset thinking, I don't care what's next now. If I can't get something I can really get my teeth into, I'm happy to, possibly.
If I wasn't going to get an opportunity to do something that I really wanted to do, I was completely at peace with not doing it.
Yeah. And you would kind of call it a day at that point, say...
I don't even know what... I never got to that moment of thinking that, because stuff always seems to happen in football. But that was my message to the people who were helping me look for what was next and have conversations with what next.
And you were completely at peace with that?
I wasn't at peace with it. It would have ripped me it would have hurt me, it would have destroyed me. But I was just adamant that I couldn't do anything that I didn't want to do. I couldn't commit to football. I couldn't commit to a club or chasing this, whatever it is. I couldn't do it unless I wanted to.
Yeah.
And not in a childish way where you do something. No, I'm not doing that because I don't want to. It was like I knew for me to play football, or to me to be involved in football, I had to want to do it, because then I could give myself to it, and I was really looking for that. And
so you're in a different position at this point compared to, say, some lower league footballers or things that they need to get another club to pay the bills and things like. But you're thinking to yourself at this point, there's obviously clubs which will have me, but I only want to go somewhere which is a challenge. So the thought of dropping down leagues or going to some lesser leagues in Europe, that wasn't going to entertain your thoughts at that point.
It wasn't not going to entertain my thoughts. I was always going to have a conversation with someone who was interested. I was never big enough to say, if so-and-so is interested in it, actually their manager or their chairman wants to talk to you, I would take that call. I would have that conversation, because who am I to not have that conversation? Because I don't know what it is that I want. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I couldn't not have conversations with people, because it could have been, it could have been anyone. It could have been a conference team. And if I had the conversation with the chairman and the manager and it was right, then I could throw myself into it. But if I didn't, so I didn't shut anything off.
It's more of a feeling than a thought. Then.
Yeah.
Like you had to feel, like if someone came to you, the thought of going to the conference, obviously ridiculous, but the feeling, if it had been right, you'd have invested in that.
Yeah, or if it was...
Of course not that low, but we were
Gav missed the boat there. You should have put a corner when you managed your Telford, Gav.
100%.
If it was miles away.
If it was like, and we're talking realistic now, if it was like the bottom end of the championship where no one would expect you to be, would it have been one of them where they go like, and you felt right and it was the right place for your family and it was the right place for you and you felt like the manager was going to back you, you would have entertained that. Let's just say around this table now, to everybody else would have been like, that's ridiculous.
I would have had the conversation,
right.
And I would have felt it out for what it was, and like I'll get to when I spoke about how when I came here and even when I came to Tottenham, the conversations that I had with the managers, because then COVID hits in the February of my season with Burnley, and then none of us know what's going. Yeah. None of us know what's going on. Like no one knows what the hell's going on in the world, let alone in this bubble of Premier League football. And then we come back, and then it was we never even discussed respectfully. There was an option to my deal, but we didn't have that conversation. There was never any animosity between us. Like it was always respect. It was always me trying to do what I could to help the team. With me not playing, and also them guys giving very good references if anyone was ever going to ask how I was as a person, because it was easy for someone who not to invest in what I'm doing to think there's a problem here, because one minute he's king of the world and the next minute he's not, and no one will touch him. There has to be a reason for that. He must be a bad egg. He must have lost his ability. He must have lost his passion, must have lost his desire.
But none of that is true.
In my opinion, no. Would
anybody have a different opinion, do you think?
I don't think so, no. Maybe, look, people can have their opinion on my ability however they want. But integrity, personality, love, passion for what I do, I know for a fact that a lot of people have really been quite inspired in how I behaved in those moments, and maybe had a little look at themselves of how they were going about their lives and how they were doing their things in football, because I'd always be able to have the conversation during it as well. Like why are you in here? Why are you doing? You've not changed the job. I was like, well, why should I? Why the hell should I change? Why should I stop being being professional? Why should I stop trying? Why should I stop this? Why? What would that achieve? What would that? I've got 50 years left on this planet. I'm not going to let this couple of moments dictate me as a person. I want to grow. I want to push. But like I say, that's tough for people to see, and no one has to see that. No one has to, there's no God-given right that I should still be in football. There's nothing that says that a big team should take me on.
Do you have any training, like from a psychologist or life coaches or anything like that?
I got close with a sports psychologist during that first period. I came out with Manchester City. I came out the team, and I should have come out the team. Manuel Pellegrini took me out the team in like in October, and I was having one. Like no matter what I tried, I was costing the team points, and it was the first time that I'd ever been dropped. It was a huge situation at the time, like in the press and whatever. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, I'm training hard. I'm trying. I was probably trying too much. And then, to be fair, my agent at the time went, I don't know how you're going to take this, but people speak to sports psychologists. I was like, great idea, fantastic. I'm glad you brought that to the table. So I ended up meeting Jamie Edwards, who is a close friend of mine now. We end up actually looking after each other from a sports psychologist point of view. But went through it completely calmed down the whole process, calmed down my whole mindset of trying too hard or overthinking things, and just completely calmed it down. And then I got back in the team, and the easy way to look at it is that we won the league again, but we just started a relationship, and luckily I started that relationship then, because everything that went on from there was a constant conversation, was a constant reference point, was a constant checkpoint, was a constant notebook that I could go back to. How do I want this to? How do I want to handle this? What can I handle? What can't I handle? How am I going to move forward to this? And we've just evolved together as a relationship. So I suppose I have, yeah. And it's something that I love, and something that I really love being a part of, and something that I'm definitely going to be a part of when I finish playing football. So yeah, where did I go there? Tottenham.
Yeah, then Jose Mourinho picks up the phone.
Yeah, Jose.
What was he like?
Awesome. I've always kind of had a little, Jose's got this way of just, when you play against him, if you do well against his team, or if you're in a title fight, I don't know, he's just got this thing about him that he's invested in what he's doing. He knows the people around him. He knows who you are. He knows that him coming to have a conversation with you about something very calm and very cool goes a long way. So I'm speaking to a couple of clubs, and I'm completely unsure about what I want. I want first team football, and then I was like, you know what, I want this. I want the opportunity to be at the top, and whatever that may be. If I'm going to have to take the hit of being in and around top players and a will to win, and I have to be number 2 or swallow something, because this is when the Tottenham opportunity came, and there was another opportunity at another club. I was speaking to a manager of potentially doing a similar sort of role. But when it came apparent that wasn't going to come off, because I held off speaking to Jose, because I was like, I can't speak to him, because as soon as I speak to him,
he's got you.
You're done.
I mean, I've signed 500 quid a year.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it was like, you're done. And I knew that if I was speaking to Tottenham, I knew the reputation, I knew how their salaries worked, and it was going to be a moment where I was going to have to take hits to do something that technically I didn't want to do. So I needed to know that this was going to be the best opportunity for us. I spoke to him because I knew as soon as I spoke to him, I knew what was going to happen, and it did. I had a conversation with him, told him where I was at, I told him where my head was at, he told me what he had to offer, what he thought of me, how he saw it going, and that was it. Bosh, I was like, you know what?
And how did he see it? Was it, right, you're going to come in, obviously Hugo Lloris is my number 1, but I'm going to give you every chance to push him.
Yeah, Hugo plays. I said, look, to start the conversation, I was like, look, I am not stupid. I know that for a fact. He didn't even need to say that. He didn't need to say, a few shaky games and, the pressure's on from you. I was like, look, I know that, Joe. I know. I've been Hugo. I know what a number 1 and how a number 1 should, and how he deserves to be treated. He doesn't deserve to be on trial. He doesn't deserve to be 2 or 3 games and whoever's behind him is all of a sudden should be getting a chance. Like, I know that's not how you roll, because you've had top keepers. That's not how he expects. That's not going to get the best out of him, and that's not what I expect. I said, I told him how I saw it. I saw my role in terms of Tottenham struggling to kind of go to that next level, and what I thought I could bring. I had good relationships with a lot of the England guys. I had good relationships from playing against the other guys. I said, I'm going to bring drive. I'm going to bring energy. I'm going to bring passion. You're in the Europa League. Maybe that's a good opportunity. Hugo's a year older than me. That's a good opportunity. I would love that opportunity to play in that. And he said he saw that as a good opportunity. Take chances with cup games. The schedule was hectic. COVID. Obviously there was a best case scenario that I played for Tottenham, but that was never a conversation that I was going there to even challenge as one. You know, it was to be part of something and be a part of it from an elite part of something, and however that was, I was all in to do that, and he felt like he could help me do that.
That was the Jose Mourinho feeling for you. Not so much, obviously Spurs is an amazing club, but Jose Mourinho being there was the main driver in that.
And me knowing that they are, and probably, unfortunately, well, hopefully they'll get over that threshold, but they are on the cusp of doing something there. Like the place is a joke. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they, I just saw it as that. I saw it as a chance to go and be in there, and there was obviously a best case scenario, but it wasn't something that I was particularly hunting. I made sure I calmed everyone down around me, like, don't get twisted in what we're going to do down here. And I also said, I said to Kim, said to the family, I said, the moment you hear me moan or say anything negative about being on the bench, you have every right to slap me in the face, because I've signed up for this. So I don't expect to behave like that, but if I do, I want to be called on it, because I've signed up to come and be a part of something that's not easy to see from the outside, but I know what I'm trying to do. So,
and we've spoken about Joe, about definitely, obviously, you've got all of that ambition, and in an ideal scenario, you want to be the number one.
Yeah.
But like sometimes as well, when you're in a situation, it's not just about competing to be the best footballer, it's about being the best person.
Yeah.
And like you've continually said it there, like when you've been in that number one position, you've expected people to treat you how you deserve to be treated. But how you flipped it, you've been a good person by going, well, actually, Hugo Lloris, he's the number one. He should be treated this way. It's about being a good person. That's a massive thing that we've said continuously over the course of this podcast.
It's more important than anything, isn't it? I mean, you talk about all these good footballers, but be a good person first and foremost.
Yeah,
that's what you've done during
100%.
And that was where I was at. And then, it's carnage, especially under Jose. It can, and Tottenham not doing well. It just ended up being a bit mental down there. It was mental. There was loads going on. There was COVID regulations. There was a Super League that all of a sudden was jumping in. Every game became pivotal. There was never a moment for the club to just kind of take a breath and enjoy a match. Even Europa League qualifiers, and it was just balmy, mate. It was just it was quite. It's nothing that I hadn't seen, but it was nuts to live, and things didn't play out how they were supposed to, or how they were promised. I felt like I kept my end of the there he is. Felt like I kept my end of the bargain, but it's whatever. Once you sign up to something, there's nothing that's going to be necessarily given to you. Things change, and then what happened there? So then,
before you go, who was the best finisher? I tell these boys, Gareth Bale was just ridiculous at finishing. Harry Kane,
GB was there, wasn't he? Jesus.
How can you forget about GB? That's my only story.
But Gareth was obviously come back there. Gareth, hadn't he? So he was. You had him in his absolute
prime.
And obviously when he came with you, Joe, he was.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Michael Symes after, but go on, Joe.
He was.
But finishing wise, obviously you touched on Harry Kane, but Gaz, was he in the same league?
Just say yes to keep Dave.
Gaz is exceptional. Obviously, I didn't. Gaz, you know what Gaz is like, Dave. He's like laid back is an understatement, but also in there is somewhat he's protecting himself because he's definitely been hurt by what's going on at Real Madrid, and anyone would be. Like the guy's a legend. He's a superstar, and for some unknown reason to anyone, the whole place kind of turned on him, and that hurt Gaz. And so he was a bit off it, and he was injuries and that. But when there were just days when all of a sudden you could tell he felt comfortable with his body, because his body, he doesn't quite trust his body, does he? And
he's like a racehorse, isn't he? He's very highly tuned.
He's very aware of feelings, and he's not. He knows that, and he's come to a point in his career where he's definitely not going to rip a hamstring or tweak a hamstring for anyone. It's going to do
unless he's got a little naughty par 3.
Yeah,
but he's all over that.
Like he's exceptional, and there were days where you just were like, because he wasn't starting games. He was like getting 20 minutes in the Europa League, and then all of a sudden I think something happened in his body and where he felt right, and he was exceptional. But the best finisher there, the best player there is Harry Kane. I was with him 3 years previous with England, and I thought he was awesome. I thought he was a top player, but He was a top player.
See him at club level every single day.
Connor Cody said the same
I
last
seen him
week,
3
didn't he?
years later.
Yeah,
And
he's
it
different
wasn't because I was with him every day. It's because this lunatic is still improving. He's still getting better because of his mentality, because of his work
obsessed.
ethic.
He has them videos on YouTube, doesn't he, where everybody else has gone home and he has the competitions with one of the other lads.
Yeah.
And it's these competitions of, like, with the goalkeepers, sorry.
Yeah.
He says to the two goalkeepers, like, he's got these, look it up on YouTube, and he's like, I will score more than you'll save. And he's constantly, like, rapping it from all angles, and it's crazy. But sorry.
What about finishing, Joe, compared to Aguero?
See, Kuhn's different because Kuhn would barely tie his laces in training.
He wasn't amazing.
Barely try, if it was a
South
cold,
American thing.
if it was a cold day, mate, you had a snood to here and a hat to here, and just his little eyes poking out.
You're right, Sergio.
But we knew that
On the match day.
But we knew we no one even said anything because he was never disrespectful. That was just he wasn't acting up or trying to play the fool. It was just him, and we knew that come when it mattered, us kind of workhorses had to train, and we'd protect him. But H
does both.
He's a phenom, mate. And some people, when they have good days, they're unplayable. When he has good days, he's actually perfect. His heading, his pass, his touch, his finishing.
All the players you played with, to hear something like that,
he's just got to be special.
He's
as good as you've played with.
Yeah. And that played with some good ones, like so.
I don't think anyone's denying that. That's decent.
So then obviously.
So then from after Tottenham, then you've come here, haven't you? So this
it wasn't a simple transition from Tottenham. I had 2 years at Tottenham, and then Nuno, Dave's boy, comes in.
How was Nuno?
Quiet as a mouse for the first couple of weeks, and then proceeded to just tell me that, in his opinion, there was a big change. There's a big change going on at Tottenham, and a big change needed to happen. They needed a lot of people out, needed a lot of people in.
Was it too much for Nuno?
I don't know. It was just all of a sudden they brought a sporting director, Italian sporting director in. All of a sudden the movement started to happen, and then I thought, I was like, you know what, I've got another year here. I'll do another year here. Family are down, schools, blah blah blah. I've not played. I played 10 games. I think we won all 10, but I didn't do enough to warrant for people to be knocking and wanting. Football was weird for me. And I was in something I was committed to. I'd committed to it, so I was in it. And then he just proceeded to, a couple of weeks in, call me in. I knew they were signing another goalkeeper They would sign another goalkeeper, Galini. And I was like, I know you're signing another goalkeeper. I know Hugo's not going anywhere. I said, do we need to have a conversation? Yeah, we'll speak after training. So, all right, alpha. And then sat down. I was like,
wait, did you go into his office?
No, it was in, I don't know whose office it was. It was like some side office with the sporting director.
There wasn't any smoke coming out of it then?
No, no.
Smell of coffee and cigars or something. Yeah.
And then he was like, I'll speak first. I was like, yeah, cool.
It's really quite confrontational, Nuno, then?
Completely not. We'd not had a conversation. Oh, right. And then he was like, I'll speak first. And then he was like, look, just to be clear, there's now, there's someone I'm signing. There'll be 3 goalkeepers. Let's be absolutely clear. No matter what happens, you will not kick a ball this year. And I'm like, I was, I'd gotten really well at the club. I'd gotten really well with people. People had really bought into what I was trying to bring. So I was like, woof. I was like, right, okay. He was like, you'll be free to work with sporting director to get yourself out. However you want to play it, play it. So I was like, Jesus. So I said, just out of interest, I said, remove yourself from the situation here. You used to be a goalkeeper, apparently. Why? Okay. Why has it come to this? Why have I gone from being whoever I was to why am I now completely surplus to requirements in a squad to not even be able to back up a first choice? I went, speak freely. And he just went, my opinion, we all reach a point in our career where we can't, the body won't allow you to play football. In my opinion, we're at it now. I would not feel comfortable with you playing 1 minute for me. The ball's too quick for you. You're too old. You're not moving. You've got no strength in your body. So I'm starting to chuckle here. I was like, right, okay. I've asked, and he literally buried me, and I'm laughing because whether I'm deluded or not, I was like, don't agree with any of that. But I said, look, I asked for your opinion. And then I went to sporting director, I went, on you? He went, I was like, yeah, I get it. It's pretty awkward. Don't worry about it. I said, look, I asked for your opinion. You've given it. It's not what I wanted to hear, but I said, I'm going to have to take myself out of this situation. Because he was like, there's a game tomorrow. If you want to play in it, you can play in it. It's pre-season. Because he needed me. Hugo wasn't back yet. I was like, I said, look, I can't, my head's a bit fried right now. I just need a minute. I just need to go back and I need to sit down, just process what you've just said to me. So he's like, yeah, Sam, whatever. So we walked off. And then I literally went home and went that, I'm completely baffled here. I said, I think I'm done. I can't be asked anymore. I said, I can't sit in a room and have that said to me by him.
You got no, like, you're not respecting.
You thinking at Spurs, I'm done at Spurs, or are you thinking?
No, I was just like, I can't be asked anymore.
Wrong person, wrong time.
3 years of just, like literally just not knowing what the hell I'm doing, going no direction, just constantly getting volleyed in the face when I'm literally all I'm trying to do is my best.
And the timing's terrible, isn't it? I mean, we speak a lot about, like with managers, about being honest, and we always say, well, to be fair, at least he was honest. I think sometimes as well, you respect the fact that, let's say that was his opinion, and you go, which for me is a bit deluded, especially where you are now. But I think sometimes you've got to have that little bit of subtlety, haven't you? Just to be able to say, look, right, okay, my opinion is brutal, but if he'd have just gone, listen, Joe, really appreciate the fact that obviously you've been here a couple of years, and I really
respect for someone.
Right, you've been there, seen it, and done it. I've got my own ideas, so we're just not going that way. I definitely really believe there's a place for honesty, but also to go that balls deep, if you like, is just a little bit disrespectful for me.
That's why I was like, do you know what? I was like, I don't even need this anymore. I don't need this. I'm fit. I'm strong. I'm healthy. I love football. I went home and I said, look, I'd prefer play 30 charity games a year for anyone who would want me to play in goal and give something back with what I've got and what I want to give. So I can't be asked with chasing the ace. I can't be asked. I like playing football, but I don't really like this anymore. People couldn't really, everyone who's been had my back and confident there, couldn't really argue that. Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying here. So I went in the next day and just said respect. I said, look, about what happened yesterday, just to be clear, I don't want to play tomorrow. I don't think there's any benefit to anyone. I said the first bit, you're the manager, make your decision. I said the rest of it was out of order, but it's done. I'm not going to be a problem. I intend to train hard every day and find some sort of solution. And he was like, yeah, sound, like completely whatever. It's just dealing with another problem for him. It's not that deep for him. It's not. He's a manager and he needed to clear wood. And I was part of that.
There's no empathy from him whatsoever.
No. Well, he made his decision and he backed it, so good for him.
And you say that, it's a difference, I think, from what you're saying even tonight, regardless of my opinion, there's a difference between him and, say, like a Jose Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? Someone who's got the empathy and the understanding and has that connection with people.
Trust me, it's run out of a little bit recently when it's not been going so well. But basically. And, like I say, I talked about going back to even talking about JMO, how he was. That was his way of doing things. That's Nuno's way of doing things. Yeah. It's not my way of doing things, but that doesn't mean it's wrong or right. But
no, it doesn't mean it's wrong, but...
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? There's no point in me trying to work out whether he was a bad guy for it.
Of course.
No, you're done with it.
Yeah. We're negative energy.
He's the boss. He's the boss, and I'm out.
Yeah, we're deliberating it over a podcast, but the reality is, to you, it's done. It's over. It's gone.
So then, Joe, obviously you had that bad experience, but then the resurgence. How does the Celtic move come about?
So I'd actually spoke to Celtic the year before, and it was something they decided that they wanted to. At the top, there was no resale in me, so they didn't want to take me on to have no resale in me doing well. There was basically I was just, if I did well, great, but they didn't gain anything from it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, fair enough. It never got started, but it was something I was open to. And then Tottenham, and then I got put in contact with Ange here to have a conversation. In Tottenham,
he's the manager.
Yeah, Postecoglou, and they were quite sheepish in approaching it. They'd actually spoken to Tottenham. They were like, I wasn't having conversations with the hierarchy. I made it very clear I was very unimpressed with how they were behaving. So they get me from a professional point of view, but they certainly wouldn't get a friendly conversation from me or anything other than a respectful good morning. It's a bit of an awkward situation we've had, and I knew that Celtic had called anyway. I was like, I know they've called. They were like, well, we'd be we'd be okay with you talking to him. I was like, all right, cool. Cheers.
I think that means a lot. Thanks.
So anyway, I was like, look, I'm gonna have a conversation, but I'm gonna be completely honest with how I see football and how I see life and how I see things. I'd love to talk to him because I think it's amazing that a club like Celtic want to even have a conversation with me. I didn't know who he was. You know, not many people did. Got on the phone, was just like, look, he was like, hi Joe, how are you? Quite a personable Aussie guy. And I just went, look, this is probably going to seem a bit full on what I'm about to say, but I need to say it for you to get a clear understanding of where I'm at and who I am. And you need to be really clear if you want to pursue this with me saying what I'm going to say. Because if you don't, I won't take offense to it. But like, this is what I feel I require to bring something to the table for you. So I just said, explain the situation. I said, look, I'm the kind of guy who gives everything I've got. And I feel like that's not got me anywhere so far, but I said I'm not willing to give up on my principles. I am the kind of guy who needs love. I like to feel appreciation for what I'm doing. I like to be a huge part of a dressing room. I like to help. I like to work with managers. I don't like to work against people. I like to work with people, and I like to be backed. So if that's not something that you feel you can give to me, then it's absolutely not an issue. Like, trust me, I've had worse things said to me than that doesn't work for me. And he was like, look, I've not even asked anyone about you as a goalkeeper. I know what you're like as a goalkeeper. You can go and goal. I've done a bit of research on you as a person. I've had some good references, and now I've had this conversation with you. I'm going to pursue it. And I was like, right, okay. Well, keep me updated. A few things happen, and you know they got knocked out of qualification. It wasn't going quite right, and Celtic were actually in a bit of dismay at the start of the season. And then, however things accelerated, there was never a conversation to be had. You know, money, like no conversations to be had. I was either coming to do something properly, whatever that may be, or I wasn't. And it turned out that I was, and I have, and this is what I've done, and this is how I wanted to do it, and I've loved it. Loved being here. Loved being part of this. I was promised that this is the kind of club. Like literally, everyone who knows me said, look, obviously you can't go in chucking 2 in every week. People will turn on you. But when they see how you are and what you are and how you represent things, they'll buy into it. And people have. People, that's why, whether I do well or not, I feel like people kind of get who and what I am. And that's more important to me than anything.
So you're happy?
I'm really happy, mate. I'm really happy.
Do you feel like laying down your core values right at the start, Joe, like with the manager, and saying, because there's probably, from what you've said, it's probably the first time you've really gone, look, I'm at the end of my tether a little bit here. Yeah. This is what I expect. This is what you're going to have to offer me. And the non-negotiable of like, this is what you've got to give me. And when he's just gone, yeah, I knew you were a good goalkeeper, but now I actually think you're a great lad. I'm going to go and pursue this. Yeah. That's got to give you a lot of uplift from there.
It did, but there was no like falseness or anything to what I was saying. I was like, there's no,
of course,
it's no agenda.
No agenda. It was completely like, this is where I'm at.
No bullshit. There's not.
You're genuinely ready to go.
And I
look, I'll bow out of all this if I have to, and I'll go play charity games unless you lot can give me what I need. I'll bow out, and he's just gone, no.
And I was very clear. I was like, this is awesome. Celtic is massive. Like,
huge.
Are you kidding me that we're even? I want to be clear that I am not giving you a list of reasons for how you get me.
Yeah.
You had me at hello.
I get that.
I would love to be here. I would love to be a part of it. For me to be successful and for me to be the guy that you need, because I was almost saying that, like, you need to know what you want, because if it's not me, don't bring me. If you want to do well and that doesn't work for you, you can't bring me, and I can't bring myself, because it won't work. Yeah. I can't be successful. And I'd let this club down. Like, if those things that were important to me didn't work out. So, but turns out he's a pretty straight up dude. He's hard. But I got an impression that he was not a man of his word. You can't use that phrase in football. You'd be stupid to use that phrase in football. Like, I'm not naive, but I'm looking for. There was a good integrity of the way he spoke and what he wanted from a human being and how he wanted to behave as a human being. So, if I came here and I had a stinker and 5 games in, I got dropped, then I got dropped for footballing reasons.
Yeah. No
politics. So, and
you just wanted a fair chance. This is what I want. This is what I expect. You had me at hello. I'd give my right arm to play for this football club, but I've had a few kicking the nads
I've
along the way.
I've got
So
a
please
pretend-
reassure me that I'll get a fair chance.
Yeah, basically.
And before we leave Celtic, and obviously you're so happy here, Old Firm atmosphere.
Bubbling, mate.
Wow.
And we've
Is
not even
that the best, Joe? The best.
we've not had an away crowd in yet.
Right.
So both at Ibrox it was just them, and at Celtic Park recently it was just us. But the one at Celtic Park recently was one of the best things I've ever been involved in. It was a night game. No Old Firms are night games. They are 12 o'clock Sunday. minimal carnage. But because of the COVID and international break winter break being moved forward, they had to fit it in on a Wednesday night, and it just happened to work that we were 2 points behind them going into the game. It's tight at the moment. They're strong. We're strong. The game was nuts. It was.
When's the next one then, Joe?
There's one in April away.
Is it on? Just if it's on a school night.
Can we have
It's a guaranteed Sunday 12 o'clock,
Sunday,
mate.
12 o'clock,
It's
we're there.
guaranteed.
Can we have a chat with Budgie and see if they'll get us up here again?
Budget Motors, just a little shout out there. Can you drive us up?
But the
They do
actual
a mean 206 Budgie Motors. Like,
did you get your first car from that?
Let's talk about this, Joe. Your first car was from Budgie Motors, is that right?
1,000,000% apparently.
Little Peugeot 206 that broke
love
down.
it, mate.
So, but on that, you did then get a Mini, which you had a CD player in, and you said to me, I ain't got any CDs. So I give you my Michael Jackson Off the Wall, Bad, a Thriller, all special edition. About 3 months later, I was like, where's my CDs?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, mate, I'll bring them in next week. Never had them back.
You were awesome for that, mate. Apologies.
Do you know what I mean? Special edition they were.
That's truth as well, so sorry about that. I'm genuinely sorry.
Wow, what an insight into the highs and lows of Joe's club career. Make sure you listen to part 3 where Joe talks about becoming England #1, major tournaments,